That heifer right there just don't even care.
You're soft now.
Evening, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hope y'all doing well on this Sunday evening.
Loma Vista said it's hot as fire right here, right now.
Hey, brother, we are with you.
We can empathize.
See who all we got in here. DC, he was first like 6 hours ago. James, appreciate you coming in, brother. Philip.
Miss Lisa's in here.
Mike.
Dennis Barney. There's all kind of people in here.
Hey, appreciate y'all. Like I said, hope y'all having a pretty good 4th weekend. We went for a little bit yesterday. Spent a little time on the riverbank to get away, meditate a little bit, if you will, kind of thing. We wasn't sitting out there with our fingers doing this or nothing. It was just enjoying.
We was just listening to the quiet.
That's it.
Well, mostly quiet. We did have our 6-year-old nephew out there with us. So it wasn't all quiet, but it was a good time.
Yeah, we had a blast out there. That youngin' played.
Hold that thought. Miss Lisa, we cannot take credit for the introduction.
Yes.
Johnny with Tennessee Mountain Bees, he literally did it all by himself. He went on and picked out the video clips and put it all together. I think we made the final choice on the music, but that was like the only thing we had to do with that. So we can't take credit for that at all.
No, ma'am, not at all. He sent it. He kind of surprised us with the first one, and he sent us a text message, and he's like, "Check this out. Tell me what you think about it." And I was sitting here dabbling around. She was in one of her books, and
if I had a picture of Tim's face though when he watched that video the first time, it was priceless. He was like an 8-year-old boy on Christmas morning and best birthday ever, all wrapped up into one.
Oh, I told her, I said, "Look, check this out." I said, "Johnny put this together for us." And
he sounded a lot louder than that.
Well, I don't want to.
He scared the daylights out of me busting out the door.
I don't want to blow y'all out in the with the mic, but yes, I was a little excited and went through and we watched it and was like, "That's perfect, brother."
We were blown away. We thought it was awesome, but it was all him. We got to thank him for it big time.
Yes.
So, okay, you got your stuff together over there.
What you reckon?
Probably not.
No, I did prepare ahead of time. Probably about 25 minutes ago.
I was gonna say, I don't think that qualifies as ahead of time.
And
but
as a good friend of ours would say, old Dale, God love him, he would just say, "I sort of kind of got my stuff together." So that's pretty well I'm at the sort of kind of end. But so who else we got in here? Miss
Lee came in and Michael Tangley came in. I think it's
awesome. Yes. How's y'all's weekend going so far? I imagine everybody pretty well done got hot. Todd said he's burning up out there in California. We burning up down here on the Gulf.
That's an understatement. It's hot down here. Even on the river, it was hot down there.
I think it was one of the chats is either last night we got on with Bob because we was up way past our bedtime coming in late.
Way past our bedtime.
And Bob went on with a late live and we jumped on and talked to him, but somebody in the comments was up, I think they're up in North Dakota way, and it was like a high temperature and high humidity way up there. And I'm thinking, I didn't realize
I went that far up.
Yeah, I didn't think y'all got the humidity so much. I know y'all get a little higher temperature and all, but
Miss Lisa, that's terrible. She said, I feel like I sinned so bad I got detoured to hell.
yeah.
So I can empathize that though.
I was we'll put Grammys up here real quick. I was down there on Phillips
What?
talking about Tim. You just got to show up and be Miss Hannah's arm candy. She's the brains behind the operation. She does keep things together. I will say that, yes, sir.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lay no claim to that statement at all.
More ways she realizes.
Yeah, we both wing it big time.
But when it comes to these lives and all that, yeah, we hope
It's
it goes
just
good.
kind of fun to see what happens
Yeah, 'cause there's gonna be a train wreck somewhere,
every time.
and we can all watch it go down live.
I kind of wonder if that's why people watch us sometimes, like NASCAR. You know, everybody watches that for the wreck. You can't look away.
I would. I'm not gonna lie. Like, look at these two.
Yeah.
So, most definitely.
Yeah. Lisa, we only got like a little bitty baby shower here. It didn't rain hardly at all. It was supposed to, but it didn't.
Now, instead of it going from north to south, today it went south to north, and the weather started developing in the next county just right above us up there, according to the weather deal in the app. Oh, but we had just enough to not even knock the dust down, really.
No.
Just made it
Just enough
more
to make
humid.
him fly out the door and make sure we rolled the truck windows up.
Yeah, somebody left it down the last time.
Yeah, somebody had wet britches for that too.
But, well, trying to figure out which little old topic we can get into first.
You didn't number them this week?
Well, I did my news. This will be coming up in just a moment,
Oh,
ladies
good
and gentlemen.
grief. Seriously? I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
you only had a little pay.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's got
can
a
y'all see that
whole
again?
segment planned out.
Bingo. You probably can't read not a word of it, but I can just about tell you what it says. But we'll get through it. But that's here in just a few moments. We did go out. We've had a video we've been sitting on the last couple of days. We've been back and forth about we gotta do an outro. I get outro.
Mm-hmm.
The ending.
Go with that.
And we've been saying, well, let's do the outro. We'll do it here, so on and so forth. And we ain't done it yet. We do apologize on that, y'all. We got one ready. We just got to do the ending of it. But I can give y'all a little bit on it. Beetle troubles again.
Mm-hmm.
We
Heartbreaking beetle troubles.
we touched on this a little bit last night on Bob's Live and went out yesterday morning. Got up about, I don't know, we was up 5:30, 6 o'clock yesterday morning. And my little routine is we let these dogs, that Jasper and the other one, out while they doing their business. I'll go down and just kind of check the bees out and see how they doing in the morning. Well, once again, seen the sugar ants, or the little black ants. It wasn't big army ants, but anyway, a bunch of ants trailing into a colony. Pop the lid, same thing. You seen the gloss and the sheen, and we knew.
I almost started crying. Literally.
Well, we got out there, and what was the most aggravating part about this, y'all? In the video that we've been sitting on, and it'll be the next one coming out. We'll try to get it put out maybe next day or so. But
Eventually.
we had been through everybody else out there, and looked good. Numbers were strong. Brood was doing good. They kind of starting to draw out a little bit. It was kind of like, okay, we're ahead of them. We're good. Well, we saved what we call the biggest one for last. And we wasn't going to do any filming of it because it was starting to get hot and we wanted to push through and get done. Well, we popped the lid on it and we got one deep for a super. Then we got a 10 frame deep on the bottom for brood chamber down there. And y'all, we opened it up, pulled some frames out, checked the top. They was drawing out some new comb, had some real pretty cap stuff ready to go. So we go to remove the honey super off to get down to the brood down there. And when we did, we didn't know, but they had built some bridge between the bottom and the top of those other frames. Well, when we done that, y'all know what happens. You rip all that stuff up and you got honey going everywhere. And there was a little old mess. Well, we're kind of like this dearth, if you will. And we were starting to see, well, hey, it looks like these robbers are starting to pick up a little bit. So instead of a robbing frenzy go on, we'll put them back together, let them get all that cleaned up. Then tomorrow we'll come out and we'll check on them and run through them real good. Well,
I don't remember what happened.
I don't remember. We work or we had to make an errand later on the day. And well, we wasn't able to get out there basically. And like I said, I walked out yesterday morning, seen the ants. And when I popped that lid, we seen the sheen of the hive beetle destruction going on. And started pulling what we could do, see what was going on, and hoping down there in that bottom we could at least find our queen, get them out, and clean everything up. Basically get them all new, clean box. We'll steal them some frames of brood and stuff from somewhere and put everybody back together. They gone. They done us gone. Little did we know.
Yeah.
And the further we went down in there, here we go with the whole beetle larvae and all that. So we got, I think we was able to save 4 frames that were not touched, and the other 16 frames are just destroyed, gone. So we got all that mess picked up.
Not to mention a kitchen full of bees with the frames coming in.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. We did. I brought that box in, and it took him. I caught myself hitting the frames, and we got the little broom and swept them off. And I was like, "Well, I got them all. I'm gonna go ahead and bring the box inside." We had walked back out for a few minutes, and I don't know. We had come back in, and she says, "There's bees in the house."
Started hearing buzzing, like angry buzzing, and then stuff hitting the kitchen light, like BBs, just boom, 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 boom. I told him, I was like, we got a problem in here because I don't have a suit on and there's bees everywhere. The dog's going crazy because she hates bees because they've tore her up so many times.
Yeah, that dog, I'm telling you, if you want a dog to find you a honeybee, that is the one to do it. Not Jasper. He ain't got into him yet.
No.
But this other one we got, she's had her tail busted so many times with them bees throughout the years. If one would even come inside, and like yesterday, they were in here, and she'll go to yapping and carrying on and point them bees out in this house. That's how much she hates them. She knows the sound, the exact sound of them. I don't know how she has figured that out, but
because it's caused her pain a number of times.
well, yeah, I reckon.
You learn them sounds.
But
So yeah, she doesn't like them.
now So we ended up, I don't know, it was about 6, 8 bees in here. Finally got them all corralled up and chunked them back outside, and we got that situation remedied. And it was a bummer on that, because that's number 3 in the last week and a half, right?
Mhm. Hey, Todd just asked the lids that were warping. They weren't wax dipped, were they? He said he's under the impression when they get dipped, they're locked into whatever shape they were cut into.
Now, Todd, it kind of refresh everybody what we was talking about. It, if you wasn't in on Bob's little chat last night, I had got on a little rant about lids, whether it's migratory or telescoping lids. I'm not happy with either one of them from what we've dealt with. Now, to answer your question, Todd, no, brother, they wouldn't wax dip. The fella, he had got some, it was like some 3/4 CDX. It wasn't treated, just CDX plywood, and some yellow pine 1x and stripped it out. But whenever we had brought them home, we burned our boxes and
Varnished.
we put marine varnish on our boxes. And they, like I say, it wasn't but maybe about a month and a half when our hot, humid weather really started pushing in for the summer. Them things started turning up on the ends, and it got to the point of ratchet straps and 2x6 across there to pull both ends down equal and those type stuff. But nothing we have in our yard has any kind of wax dipping on them. Everything that we've bought or done has been treated with. We put that marine varnish on there, and we've had really good results using that throughout the years. I mean, our first boxes are 5 years old now, and you can go out there and you pretty much can't tell which ones we bought 5 years ago and which one we bought year before last. But I really wish there's a couple ideas we talked about on that, and I'll put the link up. Y'all want to chit chat on that a little bit? Let me go. We'll just put that up. How about that?
That's a good idea.
Good idea. Well, I got a couple more topics because I know one of them you want to rub my nose in, but we'll go ahead and put
What
it
are
on
you
there.
talking about?
Me missing the queen.
I wasn't gonna rub your nose in there.
No,
No,
no.
not at all.
So
Why would I do that?
Well, you can tell the people how you wasn't going to rub my nose in it.
Well, I just did that.
Uh,
Very good. You can take
Yeah.
it from there.
Well, yeah, I told you. Let me get this working. Here we go, y'all. Here's the
Once again.
exit the chat. Go to guest.
There you go.
Okay. Here we go. The video we've been sitting on, like I said. It ain't wanting to post it down there.
You're being too
There we go.
impatient. You gotta let it catch up with you. You can't just keep hitting buttons because it doesn't instantly respond.
Bingo. There we go. Okay.
I'm working on it before you
Thank
tell
you.
me to do that.
Now, where was I at? You rubbing my nose in it.
You thought I was gonna rub your
She
nose
she
in
was
it.
going to rub my nose in it. She made it well known the last few days.
I would never.
She would. But in the video we've been sitting on, I'm sitting there with the camera, and here's my defense, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard to look through that camera and look at that frame too at the same
Like, when
time.
the video comes out, y'all hear plenty of complaining about that.
But she
Yeah.
asked me, you look on your side and I'll look on my side. See if you see the queen. I told her
I'm
no.
surprised you remember that part. I really
Yeah.
am.
So I missed the queen whenever we went back and started putting our little video together and all. It's I'm not gonna tell y'all exactly where it is. Y'all see if y'all can find it and let us know where it is in there.
But
But
y'all want to know the best part? He didn't notice it on the video either.
I sure
He
didn't.
still missed the queen all over again.
And she's marked.
Yeah, bright yellow. I mean, bright yellow.
She said, "There's the queen right there. She was on your side." And I said, no.
Oh, yeah, let's rewind this.
That's exactly what happened. She hit that rewind button real quick and said, "I'm gonna show you."
Mm,
And boom, boom, sure enough, there it
yeah.
was. I was like, well, whatever. It's hard to look
We
through the
found it.
camera and to
Yeah,
concentrate on the frame at
heard
the same
that all
time.
over again.
There, yeah.
It was funny though.
Now, okay, we got a little link posted up there. Comment.
Yes,
Okay.
dear. It is.
Now we'll say, well, y'all, we had a good church service today. I mean, we had an out of town preacher from southeast Arkansas.
And you can tell it by the way he talks.
Oh, but you talk about that man to get your attention. And we was talking to one of the other brothers in church, him and his wife. They had gotten honeybees. This is their first year into beekeeping. I think he had a friend of theirs.
Lee's taking up for you.
What did he do? Okay, Lee missed the mark one too. Thanks, brother. I appreciate
He
that.
told look, don't feel bad, team.
Glad
He's got
somebody's
your
on my
back.
side here. Got one.
Yeah.
But he was asking us different little things. We're talking to him this morning, and we was jawing about how his colony's doing over there. That they just got them one. They just want to kind of be good stewards, and it's all family right in there. And they planting them a little old garden, things like that. So they wanted them some honeybees out there for pollination, and they've been telling us about them every Sunday, how things is going and all. And he
I
said
think they're really having fun with it too.
I think they are.
Big time.
They seem to be. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, even his wife's getting into it now. She's got a jacket and veil. Even a couple of the kids are getting pretty into it now. It's really cool to watch them with it.
they said they was out there doing their little weekly inspection on that hive, and they went through pulling the frames and looking. He said, "Tim, everything looked great, man." He said, "My box on top's looking good," and he said we had pulled the frame and looked, and he said the queen jumped off, jumped right off the frame, right onto the ground, just right on by herself.
I'd have had a panic
Yeah.
attack. No, don't do this, Jasmine.
But they ended up they was able to catch her and get her back up there. And I told her, I told him, I said, brother, I said, you have to be careful setting frames down with that queen. The way she just likes to just jump off instead of kind of meander around or go on the other side of the frame of what you are. But we got a good little laugh of that queen trying to pull a disappearing act.
I got more of a laugh because they're. How old is the son that was doing it with him? He's maybe 8 or 9,
Yeah.
but he's a really, really shy, quiet little boy. Like he's polite. He's not rude or anything, but like most of the time when you speak to him, he'll just smile at you and nod. Like he doesn't talk at all. The most I have ever heard that child talk was telling us about that queen jumping off on the ground and having to catch her.
But he was genuinely, it was great to see y'all. The little fella was just genuinely happy. Be out there, work the bees, and him and his mom and daddy. And
like they're getting into it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Southeast. Oh, I hit DC. Let's see what DC's got first. Yeah, DC. I'll come right back to that in a second, bro. Philip, brother, if you are in Southeast Arkansas, and I'm not sure where the man preaches, but if you can find Brother Johnny Carter when he's home up there, and whatever, I forget the church that he's the main pastor of up there, go see him. If you ever get a chance, go see the man. I mean, you won't regret listening to his preaching. All right, DC. Let's see. Not saying you can't dip plywood. You just be better off painting it than dipping plywood.
Him and Philip had been kind of talking back and forth about dipping the plywood. Because DC was saying you have to get the wax hot enough, it would melt the glue in the plywood to dip them.
Oh, I got you.
But
Okay.
Philip was saying he had known of people that had done it. But I don't know, we don't really have any experience with that.
No, and another thing too, which the first two, we done like everybody else the first year beekeeping. We bought the package deal off Amazon where you get, what was a super, a medium, frames,
The whole kit and caboodle, a box, basically.
and
But a super animal.
the first one we got didn't have no problems out of it. Lid and bottom boards. Well, the whole deal we didn't have no problems with.
We had it for a long time.
So we ordered again from that same company, I guess, off Amazon. And those two were terrible. I'm talking about that now they had not migratory lids, the telescoping lids with them. And they wasn't out there a month before the plywood on the lid, the top, was turning loose and pushing up. So it pushed the metal up and pulled all the nails and everything loose. We tried gluing all of it back down together with clamps and stuff, and it just didn't work. And the same thing with the other one. But with the other one, it was the telescoping lid doing the same, turning up. And I didn't pay attention about the bottom board. The bottom board was plywood. So what was happening is those gaps and voids in that plywood and the bottom board, that rain weeping in, those different layers of that plywood out there on the edge, it just rotted and rotted and rotted. So eventually I just took the skill saw to it and cut the rod out. Then it wasn't but just a couple months later, the bees pretty well chewed what they wanted to of it off. And I've just said, the heck with it. Y'all do what you want to with it now.
Jeremy, did you see his comment? Don't know what to talk about.
Come on, bro. We'll find
Jeremy.
something. I can go through my. Let me do that real quick. Then yeah, come on either way, Jeremy. We're gonna talk. I wish I had some kind of. I bet you. I'll figure it out later on. I'm not gonna do it to y'all right now. Some kind of nice news music, you know, or something along those lines.
You seriously ever heard nice news music?
Yes. Oh, doorbell's ringing. Hold on.
Yeah, I bet it's Jeremy.
No.
Enter at your own risk.
Oh.
That is Chris.
Hello, enter at your own risk. I got you.
Fair warning, man.
Right?
Yeah.
I just gotta get my camera straight.
What? That man has got a Mind Lab T-shirt on. My brother.
Oh, you
Yes,
metal
sir.
detect too?
Yeah, I metal detect also.
Okay.
Awesome. We got both of us have got Equinox 600s.
Okay. I got the. Hold on, it's right here.
We love them. What say, Jeremy?
What's up, Tim? How are you, sir?
We're doing well, bro. Appreciate you coming on.
Yes, sir.
But I'm gonna run through real quick my Apis Tribune news for the week, people.
Y'all might have should have waited to come on. Heaven only knows what's on that list.
It's only 10 of them again, so it ain't gonna take me long.
Yeah.
All right. First on the list, DC has a dandelion dilemma.
Stop picking them.
Oh my God.
He's got a pile of them out there, and well, he had some questions on it. I couldn't answer them, Bubba. I wish I could. But anybody knows about dandelions and honeybees, help the man out. Then number 2, I actually got Jeremy on here for number 2. That man has harvested 700 plus pounds of honey out there in Texas.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just pulled honey today myself.
We got 4 frames.
I got 5 gallons.
Let's see. Number 3 on my list. I know some of y'all probably caught this. If y'all watched Dirt Rooster, the last one that come out with him and Tommy the other day.
No.
Oh, doorbell's ringing one more time. Let me catch you.
Yeah, I think that's Queen V.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah, okay, we got him back.
You hit the wrong button. Hit the wrong button again.
We let him back in. But
Yeah, I got.
go ahead.
What about Dirt Rooster? Go ahead.
Dirt Rooster and Tommy, you know them. That's brothers there, and I got to tell y'all about this loving brotherly moment that they had on this video. Now they were doing a cutout at somebody's place that I think it was Tommy had been up there 2 or 3 different times to do cutouts. But I'm just gonna quote this little piece that come out of their video. As they was trying to get to them bees, they were starting to jump on Randy a little bit and knock him upside his head a couple times. Well, I'm going to quote Randy's words. They ain't liking my face today, is what Randy says.
Yeah.
Tommy's come back. Love it. Brothers, you gotta love it. Now you know how the rest of us feel. So
Tim laughed way too hard at that.
I did. I mean, it's just brothers, you know what I'm saying? Giving each other a hard time. It was great.
Sounds like you're relating to somebody in your family.
Oh, I love cutting up things like that. Yes, sir. We can give each other a hard time. It's going to be a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up with 4 brothers, so yeah, I'm used to that.
So that's why you're the tomboy of the family, huh?
Yeah, I didn't really have a choice in that matter. My sister became the princess, so I was my daddy's daughter. She was mama's girl.
It was either get tough or die.
Literally.
But, all right, a few more. We get out of this. Bob Walker, Walker Bee Ranch. Could we see and everything be back in a future video?
Have you ever used one of those? They're amazing.
We got one, brother.
We have
And yes,
one.
sir.
Love
So
that thing.
I have a homemade bee vac, and I miss my everything bee vac, but I make do with what I got.
Yeah, I use the Colorado BVAC. Just got to make sure you got electricity with you.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah.
That's the main reason we went with that thing, was so we didn't have to worry about jagging, generators and cords or, power period and all that.
And it lasts a long time too on the charge.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, we had a small issue with it ended up being the charger is what it was. But we had run it last year, pretty much all season. We had done 4 in our little around here. We'd done a couple cutouts and I think 1 swarm off a fence post. And man, it worked great. Then the last cutout we had, I went to charge it. Left it on charge all night. It didn't take a charge. So I was able to plug it in and run it and use it, but it wouldn't run without it being plugged in. So we was able to do our little cutout and all. And I contacted the fella. Like I said, we had it probably about 5-6 months into this, and contacted gentlemen out there in Texas, the ones that owned all of it, and he said, send it out here to me. So we sent him charger. We thought it was the battery inside the head of it, but we just sent him charger in the head. Boom, out in Texas. y'all, it wasn't, but maybe a little over a week later, we get the whole new lid, the battery pack, and new charger in. Well, got it put on, and it has worked beautiful. And I called the gentleman and said, well, I said, what was wrong with that thing? And he said it was just something to do inside that charger.
Right.
And he said, what I done is I gave you my charger because I knew it worked. And he just sent me all his stuff with just a brand new lid and everything, and no problem, no issue. There was it wasn't, well, send me $55 more to fix it.
Oh, yeah.
The man, we will trade with him most definitely again, no problem. He really helped us out.
Who's that? Tony?
I think it was.
Tony Andrick or something like that?
Mhm.
There was two fellas. There was a younger fella, and we talked to an older fella.
Okay. Yeah, and earlier, if I missed out something, sorry, I had a phone call, so it blacked out for a little while. But hopefully I'll be on here for any other questions or help.
There you go. Yeah, I was looking at the all-around BVAC, but that's the reason I went with the Colorados, because I like being able to just placing that whole thing right on top of a 10 frame and just open up the bottom and they go right in.
Yeah.
Chris, if you haven't seen some of my videos, I make out of a deep, and instead of putting it on top, I have a top screen cover, and I like it because sometimes I'll have a removal where there's 3 or 4 different colonies, and I just have extra boxes. I just swap it, leave them
there you go.
Ventilated, but I catch the queen, I put her inside the box, put a queen excluder underneath so she can't get out. I just literally shake all the bees out front, because if you have any sticky bees, dead bees, insulation, or debris, it stays in front of the colony, but they all just march right in and kind of forces them in there. But I like it for that reason, the way I do mine, or with everything.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's
the only reason I went that way.
Where's it? Chris, the one you got, did it come from up New York or somewhere up there?
Something like that, because I thought it would come from Colorado, but just because it says that doesn't come from there.
Well, I'm trying to think. We had went. I don't want to say the gentleman's name because I don't want anybody to say, well, he sponsors this or that. But we contacted a fellow that we trust very, very well and said, what 2 do you recommend? And he said the everything BVAC, and the other one was, I'm gonna say the man was up close to New York, but what he made was like the type you're talking about, that you set the deeps on and they just go right into the box, and you just move them over. But the boxes that he built, man, it was beautiful. The woodwork that he done on them. I mean, it had a fine, nice outside on them. I think there was a good satin sheen he put on them. I mean, they look good, but we just kind of said, well, where we're at, oftentimes it might be in a deer stand or something around here. And,
right.
If we got to drag a dog on, that generator is heavy enough as it is. So just basically being cordless is what really sold us. Then when we got it and was able to use it a couple of times, it was like, yeah.
We were sold.
Right. Yeah, because around where I'm at, it's mostly residentials and commercial accounts. So they're going to,
You got to leave access.
Yeah, I got electricity anywhere I want to go. So, but I wanted to show you. Can you recognize what this one is?
Is that the 900?
That's the Legend.
I
from
hear
Nokia.
you.
I've been wanting to get back into metal detecting. I only did it for like a month.
Comes with a carbide fiber shaft, so it's really light.
I think what the 600s are only like 2 pounds, something like that.
That was like a huge selling factor for us, was how light they were.
Yeah, the lightness, and this one actually detects gold to a little I don't know what you call it, a little speck of gold. This one will actually detect it.
That's awesome.
Oh, we enjoyed ours whenever we upgraded, and it was kind of hard for us to spend that money too. But
Yeah, I know how I feel.
It was a very spur of the moment thing.
It's a toss up. Bee equipment or fun.
we had fun that day.
It was in the middle of winter, so it was a
Oh,
lot
you
easier
don't have fun. Yeah.
to not buy bee stuff right then. But
Yeah, one day maybe I'll pull out some of our cool little finds and just kind of show y'all a little bit if you're interested on that. But yeah, we
that's
Yeah.
what Lee said. You have to show your
Well, we got all these beaches around where I'm at, so that's where I hit.
Yeah. The last beach we went to, which I mean, it's a lake in Redneckville where we live, but literally all we dug was beer bottle tops. I
Michelob,
was like,
baby, Michelob.
yeah,
top.
and after an hour of this, and we had like half an ice bag full of beer bottle tops and beer cans right under a 4-foot sign that says no alcohol allowed. I was like,
Imagine that, right?
we're not getting anywhere here.
Yeah, we enjoy it too.
But I went out this morning, harvest my honey. I moved one of my swarm traps just on the ground next to my bees. My other hives just sat on the ground. As soon as I got done doing my extraction, I looked over there. It's on my video. It shows a swarm going into it.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, there's another box I'm gonna have to come up with.
Yeah, pretty
That makes
much.
that makes 13 hives this year, and 12 of them
Awesome.
as of since January.
That's awesome.
They're like you and old Ed, son of one, doing
You and
doing
Ed and
good.
DC are all competing for who can grow the most this year.
Well, mine are most of them unintentional.
Yeah. Well, still, I mean, you're
I've
growing.
got my yard is like a swarm magnet for some reason. They like my yard.
Count your blessings, man.
Yes, sir.
It could be a lot worse.
Yeah, I like freebies.
What do you say, Paul?
Good evening, everybody. How y'all folks?
We're doing well,
Good.
brother.
I was trying to see how to switch my camera around out here in the outside, but evidently I don't know how to do that. Guess I got to get with Bob, who's got a new one of these fancy Galaxy
Phone.
Yeah.
phones or whatever, and he's got a better idea about how to do this as I do. So the only thing I need to do is flip it around a little bit and kind of show y'all a little bit the apiary that I've been working on today and pulling honey out of these hives here. And Tim, you talked about having a slime out or whatever that you had, and I had a couple boxes that were slimed. So that was my swarm that I caught this year. And if you see the yellow box and the one under it, those two boxes are ones that had some kind of glistening honey. And I was a little leery to probably about 80 pounds, 90 pounds, I don't know, maybe even 100 pounds of honey in those two boxes. But I was a little leery of pulling it and extracting it. So I went ahead and put it on that swarm hive and see if they won't clear it up. I saw a couple of wax moths and some hive beetles on it. And like I said, it was glistening a little bit. So I said, well, let the bees do their magic on it, right? Rather than me try to take it out. So that's where I am right now, and pulled about 9 boxes of honey off of those hives there today, and we'll see where they go.
That's pretty well what we done too. We pulled everything. Look, like you're talking about, that glisten, and well, here we go. But thankfully, the chickens took care of the worm part, and the bees was able to get them a little bit of honey to, I guess, steal and take back.
Hated to see it, but that yellow hive, I guess, I've been watching it for the past several weeks, and it looks like it may be a little bit queenless, but it's going downhill a little bit. So I'm going to end up putting a new queen in that one and trying to revive it with some stuff I've got out of this bee hacienda over here, and see if I can't. That's kind of like my resource hives over there. So I've got 3 building up in there to replace some of what I got. But between the 9 boxes of honey I've got, Man, they're heavy for a 60-year-old guy to be lifting around here.
They're heavy for anybody.
You run deep?
Well,
But I'm looking to probably, I don't know. Last year I had over 500 pounds. This year I'm probably looking at maybe about 350 to 400 pounds of honey out of these. Probably, I got three boxes off of one hive and 4 boxes off another. 1 box off of one and 1 box kind of as a blend off of the other one. So we'll see. Everything's deep, but they're all weighing 60, 70 pounds. We'll see what happens. Looking to extract on the 4th of July, and we'll let y'all know how things work out.
awesome.
Well, Lord willing, you get you a good run out of it, and at least be able to have something.
For real.
Yeah, it's what we spend all year looking forward to do, right? Get to this point in
Right.
time and get to this point in time, be able to pull this stuff and work it out. Of course, when I moved it all in the house, then I spent about an hour trying to clean up the floor, all the sticky stuff on the floor inside the house, so my wife don't get bent all out of shape on me. She's out of town this weekend. I don't want her coming home and finding out that. So here's all my buckets all ready to go. Extractor ready to go, cleaned up and ready to go. And inside the house, I've got there's my Hive Butler cap and tank, and there's my 9 boxes of honey sitting there, ready to see what happens on Tuesday morning. So we'll be hitting those Tuesday morning and going from there.
Looks like fun.
It's always fun.
The man is genius doing it while she's gone. That way she won't never know.
If she comes back tomorrow, she'll be helping on Tuesday. I can guarantee that.
That's why he's holding off.
Yeah. That's why he's got everything ready.
I got everything ready, but you got to have a good woman by your side to help you through it, right? How about y'all? How much have you all pulled?
4
Chris, you said you
frames.
pulled today, right?
Yeah, I pulled 16 frames today, which is about a little over 5 gallons.
Well, Jeremy, he's the man and the man of the hour as far as
He
honey
just
pulling right now.
beat everybody.
No, well, I didn't get as much as I thought I was going to get. A few of those frames. So as I'm growing, I'm having them draw comb at the same time. So some of them weren't super full, so I'm just leaving them. But it was closer to 600 pounds after I actually extracted them. And then that doesn't include probably another 350 to 400 pound from a few weeks ago. You know, I would pull a couple boxes every day or whatever. But I kind of have a dilemma, and I could ask y'all what y'all would do. So our main nectar source is mesquite, and wildflower is very rare. But this year, wildflower kicked butt. We got another 2 inches of rain yesterday, which is crazy for West Texas.
Good.
So I will say, Tim, I told you I want to send y'all mesquite honey. Well, the mesquite honey so far hasn't been pure mesquite because there was wildflowers blooming.
Yeah,
well, I just pulled honey. It's mainly wildflower. I could taste the mesquite and some of it. I try to isolate them. But we're having our second mesquite nectar bloom right now. Like it's even better than the first. And then all the wildflowers are dead from the 115-degree weather, right? So I left a few colonies with some drawn comb. I gave right back to them. So maybe I'll get 3 or 4 deeps full of pure mesquite. The rest I gave another 20 colonies, just empty boxes of foundations for them to draw on. So I'm going to get a little bit mesquite, but my dilemma is cotton season starts in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I'm trying to should I put deeps on, let them go, or put in drawn comb on, let them go ahead and get the pure mesquite, or let them just draw it out so it'll be ready for cotton, or do like a little bit of each. And I'm at a good dilemma.
Mesquite a premium price?
No, it's just it tastes a lot different, and a lot of people like it. Our main thing out here that sells is cotton, which I plan to get a couple thousand. With all the drawn comb that I got, a couple thousand pounds would be easy.
Yep. Well, if you want to differentiate it, pull your boxes now with the mesquite that's out there. Cotton's fixing to start. Throw new boxes on and segregate.
That's what I was saying. I pulled everything right now, and it's mainly wildflowers. Some have a hint of mesquite that I could kind of say it's mesquite. The mesquite bloom just started. The second mesquite bloom just really started. So I might leave 3 or 4 colonies just there because I have to move my colonies to the cotton fields. There's no mesquite around there.
Okay.
I might leave 3 or 4 there to get pure mesquite, and then the rest move to cotton. And then I have some on watermelons too. I mean,
Right.
it's a good little dilemma to have, but
My
So
bees
where are you
all
at? Are you
plain
in
wildflowers.
Are you in Lubbock? Or are you way out in Muleshoe?
I'm 3 hours south of Lubbock in San Angelo.
Okay.
Are you
So
from
that
Texas?
that is in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yes, sir. Are you from Texas?
No, I've driven across it too many times.
Okay. I was like, who knows a mule shoe?
Yeah, when it's 55 miles an hour back in the day, man, it took forever to get across Texas.
Now it's 80.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah,
kind of
Muleshoe has all that cotton around it. That's why I was asking if you're around in that area, but nothing but cotton as far as you can see.
Right.
Yes.
Well, still, I would say pull the mesquite if you want to segregate it and put new boxes on when you're ready for cotton to hit and go from there.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm finished pulling anything anymore myself. I'm gonna let the girls keep whatever they make, so they have it all through winter.
Yeah, pretty much.
See, here we get a feed all the way through winter. I mean, so I steal everything. I'll make splits. I'll make nooks in September, mid-September easily.
Ours is mostly tallow, but tallow has been very light this year because it got burned with the freeze at the beginning of the year. So yeah, ours is all wildflower, but you know, a lot of people that I sell it to say, "Hey, your honey tastes
It
better
tastes
than
better.
anything I've ever tasted." So
Yeah, that's what I do, wildflower, and that's what I've been getting is all my customers saying this tastes better than the store stuff.
yeah,
Of course.
yeah. Unless you're in the middle of an orange field, you can't say that it's orange blossom honey. Unless you're in the middle of a, you know, sourwood, you know, forest, you can't say it's sourwood. Unless you're in the middle of blueberries, you can't say it's blueberries. As far as I'm concerned, everything, you know, they fly and they get what they want. They
Right.
don't
Yeah.
tell me where they got it from when they come back to the hive, you know.
What up, Philip?
Mr. Phillip,
How y'all doing?
good evening, sir.
How's North Texas doing?
Oh, it's doing good. You know, it was hot last week, but it was only like 96 this last couple of days.
Oh yeah, same here. It's
It
our
was nice.
cold front is nice this week. So
Yeah, it's been very nice. Yeah, I was going to jump on here and show you guys my Robo vac that I built after watching Mr. Ed.
Hang on, let him make you big first, though.
What?
Let him blow your camera up on
Yeah,
the
let me turn the
screen.
camera around. But it definitely won't compete with the everything BVAC. It'll just make you really want to go out and buy an everything BVAC. It works fine, but it's kind of clunky. See if I can figure out how to do this real quick.
Josie's awake.
He already put it in his face.
I'll grab him.
There we go. All right.
You want to get your brother, baby girl? He's got his bottle. Thank you, love.
So basically,
What, baby?
it's 3 pieces. It's the base right there with a sloped bottom on it. It's the you put a deep on top of that, just like that. Then this is the piece that Mr. Ed talked about that was so neat, but he's abandoned using it. This is the screen. You have to build this little track. I think I put this on right. You have to put this little track on here like that, and I tie it to the base using these ropes. I'm not going to tie it for you guys. But then the screen slides once it's all together. Right. Slide the screen. So now the screen slides in and out like that once it's all notched together. The idea is after you vacuum them into this bottom box, you put another deep on top of this with some frames in it, and you pull the screen back, and there's a little bit of beast meal. They'll crawl up into the second deep. That's the theory. But I noticed on one of his videos recently, he said he quit doing that because he just takes them out of this bottom and dumps them into a hive. But I don't have a motor mounted to mine. I just rigged mine up so you could put your shop vac nozzle right here,
Mm-hmm.
and then this is your suction control right here. So, but yeah, it looks like, and then you have to run straps around it and all that. It's pretty clunky, but it gets the job done. I've used it.
That'll work.
Works. For real.
But yeah, I just copied what Mr. Ed did.
No, I mean, that's simple enough in itself. Just not worrying about having to get a rheostat or anything to try to slow that vacuum down.
Speaking of being in trouble with the wife, this is my honey setup. You can see it. I got paper all over the floor. There's my extractor. Those are all those are full of honey. I'll tell you what show you guys what I brought home this weekend. I was pulling all my honey off. I might catch up with Jeremy once I get this pulled out, but got all these boxes pretty much full of honey. They're not totally full, but I'm hoping to get another 220 pounds.
Wow.
Oh, that's what you've already pulled?
Well, I've pulled 280 out in the country, and I've pulled 180 here at Capel already. And I think that you saw out there is another 200, 220. And then I've got probably 30. I probably got 30 pounds, maybe 40 pounds still here, and that'll be it. That'll be over then. So all that adds up to 700. So I'm sure Jeremy's got a lot more to pull.
Let me go back up here thinking on that. That thing's gonna work for me. Here we go. We lose Paul.
Jeremy's got something precious.
Yeah, he just woke up from his nap.
Wow.
Yeah, Jeremy, you've had me looking at all the mesquite trees.
Yeah, it's been crazy because the first bloom here, the first bloom sucked. But 20 minutes away was amazing. Now the second bloom is doing great, just like the one we missed on the first one. So, Dennis, broomweed and snakeweed. I heard we might have some in some areas, but I don't even know what it's like.
I have broomweed, but that's over in the fall when you get broomweed.
Right. Which I just move all mine to cotton fields where it's literally just surrounded by cotton fields.
Thing I got to watch out for is snow in the prairie. It'll ruin your honey.
That's got a spice to it, right?
Yeah, it's worse than a spice. It's like toxic. You'll want to spit that thing out, and it'll make your throat burn.
Right.
It's more like a reaction than it is a heat.
Your cat wants 2 minutes of fame there.
Yeah.
Chris, those raspberries, are they the thornless?
Yeah.
Are they?
And they're huge. They're about that big around, man.
Man, we got some that were. Most of y'all should know what we're talking about, but man, they wasn't no bigger than a dewberry.
No, these ones are huge.
They was on a thornless, and what was it, the second year we poured the fertilizer to them, and them jokers got up and got gone. But y'all, I ain't never had a little berry taste so good that come off that vine. I mean, them rascals was some good berries, and whenever we moved, we literally undug or dug up every plant that we had, far as whether it was blackberries, figs, the whole everything. When we moved, the plants came with us because this was
We had a
home.
lot of money in them fruits.
We did,
Right.
but the raspberries didn't make it.
Oh, they didn't too hot.
We haven't been able to find them again.
No.
No.
But I'd love to have some more of them rascals. Man, them things was good.
If I get them and they start reproducing like they do over at my daughter's, I'll get some cuttings and, you know, get them rooted out and maybe send you some.
Hey, that'd be awesome if you can get them down here and make it. We'd love to have some of them things again.
Chris, where are you from?
I'm actually from South Carolina. I'm an hour and 20 minutes from Bob. So that's why I usually show up there and give Bob a hand when he needs it.
And Tim, was that everything on your list from earlier?
Oh, on my news report?
Why did you do that?
Oh, was it?
I forgot.
Of course not. No,
No.
I got more, y'all.
Wishful thinking.
She just wants me to hush up with my shenanigans. We're going to carry on. Where was we at? Bob Walker and the
We were
B-Back.
at number 10.
Yeah. Bob Walker
No.
and the B-Back.
We were at number 10.
We was getting close to 10. Let's see. O'Brien with Flower Street. That rascal had him an open air hive about 40 feet up in a lift, it looked like. That looked like that was some fun. You remember going on that lift?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a good time.
No, we did not have a good time. Me stuck 45 feet in the air
Straight
on a
up.
lift for the first time in my life with him for 2.5 days. I was in that stupid lift with him with the red lights and sirens blaring. It's not level. It's not level. Freaking out. The control won't work. And he thinks it's funny. No, I did not have a good time in that lift.
Now, if you ever run a man lift, you know if that thing ain't just so level, it won't move.
Look, he scared me so bad. By day 2, I was driving the lift, and he was painting. I was like, no, I'm done with you flinging this thing around at 20 miles an hour. No.
Hey, she ended up running that rascal good. I mean, we were spraying a house, and she figured out how to
I
run
felt
that
like
man
it was
lift.
either learn how to drive that lift or I was going to lose my life on that job. I was petrified. Which, I mean, I don't do heights at all. I can get on a horse, but that's as far as you're getting me off the ground without me shaking in my boots, literally. I don't care for it.
It was a fun day. A fun couple days.
It was
For
fun
me.
for some people. Yeah, he got a good laugh out of me white knuckling it up there for 2 days. But no.
All right, let me finish up my deal. We'll carry
I thought
on.
you were distracted.
No, I ain't distracted. See, Ed's done his starter finishers with good results. Congratulations, Ed. We had talked earlier in the year on him trying to make it to at least 10 colonies for his goal for the year. And talking to him yesterday on the way home, he said he made it to 11.
He's been killing it this year.
Congratulations, brother, for surpassing your goal. And Lord willing, you know, it'll keep on going good for you. Three more. Hillbilly Earl, he's got a good rundown on the science of sugar. I'm not going to get into complexity and the parts and pieces and all that because I'll be done lost y'all. But he's got a good video of how he broke the sugar compounds and y'all go check it out. As far as if you want to know the compounds of the sugar and how the bees take it in and all that good stuff. He breaks it down in common folk terms to help you understand on those ends. Oh, Sawmill Charlie, he's got his honey pool. He's done with the flow. I think for the year, he was talking in his little short.
His season ends in June.
It's wrapped up for him.
Yeah, he had his bees doing the cleanup like I did.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9, we only got 10, y'all. So we at number 9 finally. Grayson's got a good little instruction video on hive inspections. So we're going to give him shout out on how well he's doing with his channel and giving good information to people to help them out with their beekeeping. Thank you, buddy, on that.
You didn't do any of your goofy news stuff. You didn't tell me you had real stories to tell.
Well, the dirt rooster was my only real cut up. I'm trying to
Yeah.
keep it serious this time.
I was not aware of that. I didn't know what you had coming.
And one of the best, and I'm gonna try to get a clip from somebody else's video, but we was talking to Johnny, Tennessee Mountain Bees, how much he's been a blessing to help us kind of launch this and put our little intros together and things like that. But he got out fooling with his bees the other day, and he ended up talking his woman into getting out there and
She was
getting
in
into
the video
bees.
with him.
Yeah, she
That's
was
cool.
his camera
I thought
woman,
so.
and it sounded like and looked like they had a good time out there working with one another, and that was a blessing to see.
It was really good to see her getting in it.
Well, I'll just tell y'all this, but like I say, most of y'all, yeah, I imagine y'all watch Dirt Rooster as well, but one of the last one or two videos he put out, he was over there helping his daddy, and it ended up being his daddy, his mama, and I think a gentleman that they know right there, family
Over his
friend or
daddy
something.
was so sweet.
Yeah, you want to tell that part?
He told you.
But we're how Mr. McCaffrey, he was so happy to have his woman out there. And it was the first time, I guess the man's been keeping bees 30, 40 years probably. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that, but a while. And how do you say it? My sweetheart's out here with me.
This is my angel's first time in the
Yeah.
bed. He called her his angel. I was like, oh, they still love each other after that many years.
That's her. Still solid. You know what I'm saying? It gives you hope.
It was sweet.
Doorbell's ringing.
Philip got kicked out.
All right, y'all. I'm done with my Apis. What I call that? Tribune.
What?
The Apis Tribune.
The Apis Tribune.
Yeah. It's got to have an official name.
Yeah.
There we go. Got your back, Philip.
Yeah, I wanted to get off the phone and get back onto the computer. So my hand was getting tired holding that phone up.
But yeah,
Did you
y'all.
see Dennis's? Did you see Dennis's question about the fermented honey? I don't know about that one.
I don't know. They may be like with some of them squirrels you see on them videos.
Get drunk.
Yeah. Did it pop up?
You call them wacky bees.
Wacky
I don't know
bees.
if you can or not, y'all. I mean, Jeremy or Philip, one of y'all may be able to answer that for sure. But
I don't know. I try to steal everything I can, and if it smells fermented or anything, I usually just scrap it. But I'd rather
Especially,
just real stuff,
yeah.
real sugar syrup than fermented stuff.
I drink the fermented honey. Isn't that mead?
Right.
it's good for the adult, huh?
That's right.
I honestly haven't had any honey go like that, so I don't know.
I have no idea.
I get what would make it.
Sure. Russell Koopman said he's heard no to fermented honey.
Okay, all right. Well, there we go. We got us some.
Ed said they'll start fighting on the porch.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a good day when you get stung 3 times on the same arm.
Oh. They jump on you today?
Oh boy, yeah. I don't know if you see my videos, but it's my biggest hive, and they did not like me pulling their honey off today. They jumped on me, and I even smoked them, and smoked them, and smoked them.
They still wasn't having it.
No, they did not like it. I got 3 supers on it, and I pulled 2 of them.
Well, ain't y'all got a little bit of bad weather coming up there today and next day or so, or are y'all pretty well done with the?
No, we've had, well, they say we got 15% chance, but here that means 0. If they say 35, we might have 10%. So it all depends because the way the weather moves right through South Carolina,
Mm.
because I'm closer to the Georgia border. A lot of people get all when they say this rain, it's all closer to North Carolina and all that. So in Bob's area.
Yeah, wasn't he talking about that?
Was that
All I
Bob?
get is the humidity.
Oh, ain't that the truth? It's rampant. Which I will say this year, somebody commented a minute ago in the comments about it being a weird year. I think it was. And
Mm.
March last year, we was already in the 90s. March of this year, we was into mid 80s, but with low humidity. It was like spring. I mean, it kind of seemed like we had an actual cool spring versus going from, well, we got a couple weeks of some really pretty weather to the full extreme.
Summer.
Yeah, summer heat, humidity pushing in here. I mean, it was actually,
Oh, spring.
yeah, it was nice. I'm not going to complain on that, as far as it being cooler and all, but
It was cool all the way into May this year.
just no kind of population on the bees, really. No kind of honey production. They're the pollen ain't even really been flowing too good. That I guess they got more pollen than they got honey. Is the best way to put it right now down here. And
Yeah, so
now,
it's way different than last year.
Right here.
Last
They're my
year,
earbud.
I'd pull out a frame and be bone dry even after harvest. And right now, I've got a great honey bank, kind of too much honey in my brood boxes. I made a few nooks a few weeks ago, and I just picked on I picked on 3 of them, and 2 of them already had swarmed because I gave them empty frames or empty drawn comb, and they're already capped honey in 3 out of 5, and it's ridiculous. So this flow, when it hits, but it's short. So tomorrow I'm going to be going through nooks, seeing if I have any queens, because I do have 2 laying workers. Try to introduce that nook into a thing, but I like to take all honey out as much as possible before I go. Like going to cotton, I want to get all that honey out as much as possible, but with being so much honey in the brood nest, that's going to be kind of impossible. And normally I would like to do splits a month ago, but everything's still blooming and coming, and it is an odd year, but it's great at the same time because I don't have to feed like I did last year. So,
I mean, this is the first year we've experienced anything like this. Granted, we're a 5th season,
Yeah.
and
We haven't been doing this long.
it's been I guess, a few speed bumps in the road trying to figure out how to. You really had to figure out how to manage. The best way to put it, instead of the last 4 years, go out there, throw the boxes on, buddy, they'll draw them out, and the colonies will be packed, and it'd be full of honey. The whole wonderful. But this year, it's been more of, okay, now we got to keep them alive and keep them going until something either does kick in, or maybe if we get enough chance and these storms stay off of us in the Gulf, that they can recoup during the goldenrod and that type thing. But the heat has pretty well burned up most everything around here except for the crepe myrtle. Now that crepe myrtle, it'll go 135 degrees, but everything else is pretty well done burn off now.
Yeah, we got a lot of people in my neighborhood that like to grow roses and flowers, so they got plenty of pollen that they can get bringing in. That's the nectar that's the problem right now. So that's why I'm feeding them. That's why I'm not pulling any more honey. So,
Well, another thing we need to pick up on is educating ourselves on getting a little more in depth of the native and the wildflowers that we have around here, to be able to say, okay, look, that's, dead nettle and jewelweed and all the other little wildflowers you see popping up around here, and which ones actually are the nectar producers, and they can get something out of it versus them just basically pollinating a plant to procreate on their end. We did go talk to some people in the county down here, about 2 weeks ago, and there was a little bit of confusion on us going down there and talking to them, but
it worked out in the end.
it
Got
really
some
did.
really good information.
They what they call that, the soil and something. It's pretty much the agricultural folks that do everything down here on
Ag
our
department.
the ag department in our region. And the gentleman we know is on the board of all that, and he said, look, there's some grants that's going on that may help y'all with your honeybees. And we went down there and we was thinking, well, maybe, this grant, we can get equipment and it'll help you with bees, and the state's going to do all this. And we went in there and
We were delusional.
we were. We sat down and talked to the lady, and she's like, no, it ain't a grant for anything like that, but here's what we are offering. And it was different types of land management, helping with erosion, getting native species, plants, flowers, pollinating. It was a pollinators grant, and we're gonna try it, see if maybe we can get a piece of it at the end of the year. But
she said they'd come out, like you can make an appointment with them if they accept your application, and they'll come out and like inspect your property and tell you what all you've got, how much of whatever it is, and what you need to take out, what would be more beneficial to put in, like that they can basically help you set up your yard.
But everything is native to our area versus buying, say, an invasive species or something not around. They're really trying to push the native wildflowers and pollinators, and don't say, hey, look, y'all come out here and look anytime, and if it works out, we all for planting whatever we can plant out here, and most definitely you can come do your little research or whatever y'all got to do on it, because I think she said they had to come out and, I guess,
They
survey,
do
if you
soil
will.
samples and all kind of stuff, just like full land management, but from a pollinator standpoint.
We're gonna try that.
Cool. They told us about some free lectures with these people, like online group lectures from all over, and gave us some different websites to check out. Like they were really informative.
Oh, we come out of there with, shoot, them people printed off, I don't know, 8 or 10 pages of different things that are helpful for us. And, different nurseries around here by us that carry the native pollinators. And we're like, well, hey, we all for it. We'll check it out.
So how many acreages you guys working with?
Not many.
We're sitting on a little over an acre, but the family land is a little over 5.
So you live right next to where your grandmother was?
Her mom and daddy.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, her grandma is what y'all see us going up to the pecan orchard and all that up there.
7 or 8 miles north of us, but not right here.
The one reason, man, we was so fired up going up there and putting some swarm up, and because up there in the late 1800s and early 1900s, in that little old town of Centinel, Alabama, that was the biggest producer of Italian and Russian packages. And they shipped out, I can't tell you how many queens. I had to look it back up on the historical website, but they shipped all over the U.S. and Canada, and they was the biggest apiary back then in the whole U.S. And
I don't remember how long it lasted.
it was from the late 1800s, and I think they shut it down in around 1928, roughly somewhere in there is whenever they wrapped it up on that end. But where the apiary was probably, I don't know, by the way the crow flies, not even a quarter of a mile. And this is just us and our crazy thinking.
The bees
Man,
should still be around.
that's what we was thinking. Maybe
Yep.
there's a genetic of a wild, well, we're not going to say wild, but swarms that come off some of those. And what are the chances of those genetics carrying on, you know, another 100 years? And we know we would never know for certain, but just coming from up there, we would be like, man,
It's
heck
kinda
yeah, it'd be
to think
cool.
about.
Well, you know how to check that, right? I think the reason they go to my yard so often is because I do put sugar water out all year round. And right where I've had the sugar water, I have a swarm trap right above it. And I use the swarm rustler in it. So they're getting a taste of the food and they're getting up and finding that swarm trap.
Mhm.
And I have natural pond that I have next to my property that they have natural water too.
I mean, where we're at, we're kind of, if you was to look at us on the map, we're in the middle of
You got a
pine
lot of
thicket.
streams.
Yeah, we got quite a bit of streams around us. A whole bunch of, I don't know, we'll say artesian wells,
Hmm.
little old springs that pop up everywhere, and we got a couple good sized creeks. I say if they had to fly, or maybe a mile from us at the most.
Mm.
But then across the road, they do the planting. Last year was cotton. This year's peanuts. So
Yes.
we know we're not going to get anything off that peanut run, and we're really hoping, well, maybe when they get done doing peanuts, they'll take and turn around and do a run of cotton for the fall harvest. And thankfully, it's everybody that does it, it's probably, we'll say 1 square mile. There's probably a good 600 acres that's planted between the different landowners right here. And
If they hadn't started cotton already, they're not going to do it this year. It's too late for cotton.
Mm.
They'll probably come back with soybeans if they double crop. They need to get that in right now. They might come back with wheat in the fall, start some wheat. It'll go through the winter.
they'll pull, listen, peanuts. They usually try to do a cotton run before fall. And
I don't know how they could get cotton to produce. Maybe you just don't get it. Maybe you just don't get a freeze. Maybe there's no pressure on them. You guys are pretty far south, right? You're right on the coast.
Yeah, it ain't gonna freeze here
Nah.
till January, kind
Lord,
of
no.
thing.
Maybe then. I grew up in North Louisiana, and it's all cotton country. And you had to get your cotton in the ground in like May to be able to make a crop. You couldn't.
Yeah.
Soybeans, you could go all the way to about now to start them, but
Mm.
you lose it. Like they used to say after June 15th or July 1st, you lose a bushel a day on soybeans. The later you plant. But yeah, the cotton where I grew up was not like the cotton where Jeremy is. Cotton where I grew up, they had to spray it to keep it from growing over your head. It
No,
was just
Lord.
crazy.
Our cotton probably don't get maybe waist high.
I doubt.
I mean,
most
it's
of
not
it
very
gets
high
that
at all.
The dryland cotton here only gets about 1 foot tall, but the irrigated cotton's about 3.5 feet tall.
Mhm.
That's about how high it is around what they plant around here.
Yeah,
Where I grew up was the Mississippi Delta, and it's millions of years of the backwater flooding from the Mississippi. It's extremely rich soil.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any farmers around me. I just have people with the gardens. Every house has a garden around me.
No.
Well, they happy to have you around. I know that.
Probably would.
Well, at first, my neighbor behind me, she was spraying my bees as they're coming to pollinate her plants. I'm like, why are you killing my bees? They're helping your flowers and your plants.
Oh,
So she stopped doing that. So
So,
so
she thought they were gonna they were gonna sting her. I said, yeah, that's a misunderstanding about honeybees when they come to get food.
Hey, Chris, sorry to interrupt really quick. Tim, Anna, Philip, Chris, I'm going to go cut it out real quick. I've got a fussy baby to.
you're all right, brother.
See
We'll
you
holler
Yeah.
at
later.
you.
Thanks for having me. I'll
All
try
right.
to respond in the comments, but you have a good rest of the night, y'all.
Y'all
Okay.
too.
Thank you.
Amen.
So yeah, that's all I got is gardens.
Yeah. Y'all were talking about, feeding bees, and I commented on Ed's, one of his last videos about asking him how he was able to determine, whether or not it was honey or sugar water. And I think he had mentioned in there he puts Apis in his open feed. And then Galloway Lights commented to my comment, and he said, "So now you tell me, Philip, I just grabbed a jar of Apis honey." That's what he called it, Apis.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I started thinking about that, all the hype around Apis. Have you guys seen that movie, The Mask?
Yeah.
Put
Which
the mask
one?
on, and they go crazy. I was like, that's probably what drinking Apis honey's like. You drink that and you just go wild. we might could go ahead and make Apis honey and sell it before they make it illegal.
You never.
Make it like one of them caffeine drinks you can get.
Get people hooked on it.
That's probably a legitimate concern that somebody would get hooked on that. No joke.
Oh, there'll be somebody out there.
We'll become dealers and not beekeepers.
Oh my gosh.
I think I just should go cannabis and just
Well, yeah.
have nice little marijuana honey.
That could be really interesting.
You have multiple medicinal uses.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm sure you could steep it in there somehow. It's like hot honey. You could just get it in there. Yeah.
Well,
You could just
Yeah.
get it in there.
infuse it. I get how they infuse it in food and anything else like that. You figure out how to
Yeah,
separate
DC, you should be able to do marijuana up there in Washington. Isn't it legal?
I think so. Alabama's like the only place left on the map. It ain't legal.
No, South Carolina. We're not legal here either. So
Right.
Really?
It's
I
not
thought-
legal. It's not legal in Texas either.
Yeah.
They
We're
working
all
on
civilized.
the medical part here in Alabama, but that has
Yeah.
been ongoing for several years, and everything is good to go. But
It'll take them like 20 more years to build the dispensaries to let you
It will.
start using it.
I mean, y'all, they still working on a highway they've been working on, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm 41 years old, and as long as I can remember, they've been supposed to have that highway done, and they just now got
Started on it again.
yeah.
They ain't nowhere near done with it. No, DC
That's-
said it's not legal to grow up there.
Okay, so you can possess it, you just can't grow it up
I
there.
guess you can buy it legally and possess it, but he
And,
said I
well,
think they're changing that.
I think let's see, hillbilly up there. I think they can have so many plants, and it's legal, I believe. Let's see, he's in Virginia, so if there's anybody in Virginia that knows for sure, but I think you can only have just a few plants for personal on
Hmm.
top
enjoyment.
of whatever you get. Yeah. But hey, I mean, I know some folks have their concerns and all that, and I 100% respect that as well. But man, the medicinal uses that we've seen help, and we'll just say a little family member of ours that he has such a terrible time with seizures, and they put him on all kinds of medicines, and they've done this and that, and nothing kind of really work for him until they put him on, what was the oil or something.
Yeah, as long as you ain't getting the actual other
Well, I
stuff
mean,
out of it.
in Florida, so he had a prescription for it, but man, that oil worked. I mean, he went from having literally, it could be dozens of seizures a week to he would go 2 and 3 months with nothing,
Sure will.
kind of thing.
Should- I should have gave it to my dog.
Hey, I mean, it helped with him.
Yeah,
Just had to put him down though.
yeah.
The issue with it, Tim, is that when they do open it up for medical use, they open it up for everything. So just depression. Hey, I got depression. Here's your script.
Yeah.
Go get it. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the deal. There's no there. You can't draw the line. It's either. It's unfortunate, but that's
There's people that'll get in line to abuse anything that
Yeah.
comes along. They could.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
So
when you
get
go up,
everything.
you go into if you drive up to Oklahoma, there's a dispensary at every shut down gas station. You know, that's what they all turned into. So there's one on every corner. Of course, Oklahoma has really, really lax laws on all of it, which to me, I'm fine with that. I don't care.
Yeah, my brother went to the grave with it.
No, it just, if it helps you, absolutely, man. Anything, especially a natural product. And I mean,
My
go ahead.
I guess my opinion of it's kind of jaded because I had a roommate right out of college. He was actually a high school friend that moved in with me, and he was really into that stuff. And it made him worthless. He was a smart person, and it made him lazy. And he was basically the people that were doing it were like stealing from their employers and giving each other things. And it's sort of the whole subculture of people. He wouldn't pay his bills. I'd get phone calls all the time at my apartment because he wouldn't pay his bills. All his money went to that, and it just made him worthless. And there was no other reason for him to act like that other than he's always wanting to be high.
Mm-hmm.
That was my brother also.
In the same sense, though, like I'm not down in that. I don't want to get into some serious debate or something, but I've seen alcohol and a lot of other drugs, and I mean, there's all kind of. I've seen. I think with different people, like what DC said, a lazy person's a lazy person, a thief's a thief. Like, I feel like somebody can find an excuse for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't. I mean, I agree with you. Like where you were seeing that, you had that firsthand experience, but I don't think that's the way everybody is.
Right.
Just like, somebody with alcohol, you can come across somebody that can drink and handle it and live their life and do really good for themselves. And then the next person is going to be the one that won't get off the couch or pay their bills and stuff.
And to be fair, he moved on from that. He probably still does it, but he figured out how to structure his life. He got married and has children and all that stuff. He grew up sort of, but it sure delayed him for a few years when he was living with me. For sure.
Oh,
I
well,
can
I mean,
see that.
yeah.
I've seen it both ways.
We'll say we've all come up around it. I mean, we're all in that age to where I'm gonna say about 99% of most everybody has indulged in at one point in time type thing. But like you're saying, it's all in what's in you, whether you have that push and go for work every single day. Because like, I'll just use myself for example. I'm like any other man, brother. When I get home from work, I don't want to do nothing else around this house I don't want to pull a tool out. When I put them tools up at the end of the day, whatever job we're coming off of, I'm done. But between whenever we leave the house in the morning to go wherever it is we're going to work that day, from the house to there, we cutting up, laughing, having a good time, and just chit chatting, what have you. But whenever I get to that job, it's a light switch is the best way I can explain it. I go from let's cut out the bull crap to it's time to work and we're going to concentrate fully on whatever this is. And I turn into a full work mode. And I continue that all day long until she says, well, it's getting time to go or we can wrap up for the day. Then whenever we pull out the driveway heading home, I shut that work off right there at that driveway. And we relaxing and chit chatting and carrying on the whole way home. Not saying I'm sour all day long during work, but my mind
That's
is
a matter of
in.
opinion. I'm saying that.
Oh, yeah. But
He knows all of it.
I just get
picking on
tuned in.
him.
There's that OCD in me to where I just get tuned in. I've even had customers tell me, Tim, just stop. It's fine. You know, just get out of it. But in my mind, I know, now something ain't right. I need to, tweak it, level it up like it's supposed to be, or whatever the case may be. That's it. That's exactly right, Lee. Work time, play time. And now we do cut up and carry on at work, and I'll aggravate her, but
And then I put my headphones in and we go back to work.
yeah, for the most part, it's dive into it. And it's the same way with them bees. Whenever we go out there and fool with them, all right, now I got to turn my attention on these completely. So I'm going to knock out whoever's calling on the phone or anything like that until we get done. That way, whenever we get through with those boxes, we can go, okay, look, the Apaches is fine. The Cherokee, they need a little bit of brood. We got a beetle problem, and the Shoshone out there, and it gives me a better plan in my head versus having a whole bunch of chaos going on in my brain, because it don't take long for this brain of mine to kind of get overloaded.
Oh yeah, we all go through that.
Yeah. So DC's had a comment. They tried to get him on Vicodin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hope you understand. Yeah. I hope everybody understands. They're trying to get you some relief, but they're also trying to get them
Addicted.
Yes,
That's a whole industry.
It is. Literally. It's sickening the way it is.
It's not the end game's not about helping you.
No, it's not.
And the better insurance you got, the longer you can stay in the hospital.
Do what?
I said the better the insurance you have, the longer you can stay in the hospital.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's yeah. Once you get on Medicaid and Medicare, you got 50 days left for
Yep.
dementia. That's what we're going to treat you for 50 days. And then, we got to find something else that's wrong with you.
Yeah. They let you out and then book you right back through the ER under a different diagnosis and put you right back in that same hospital.
Sure will. Yes, sir.
That's why I'm glad I'm VA, because they don't do that.
Yeah. I just have way too many run-ins with the people.
Yeah, it's hard dealing with any of that insurance and hospital and all that. But like you say, it ain't about making folks healthy no more. It's up to us as individuals to find the best route of what's going to keep us healthy. And it's whether, now I ain't no kind of tree hugger at all. I'll go cut them down. But I do like going out and doing different things, like for cuts and burns. just about every pine tree on this property has got a hole in it somewhere. Because I'll go out there and I'll dig at that pocket knife until I get down to the meat of that tree. And I'll make that old pine weep and get that pine sap. And anytime I got to cut, burn, something along those lines, I go out there and pull me a little bit of pine sap, throw it on whatever it is, and a couple of days later it's healed up, you good to go. And I mean, it's just different. The good Lord give us things to work with. It's just we've gotten so far ahead of ourselves. We should have listened to Mama and Pawpaw when they was telling us, okay, hey, look, this poke weed out here, it's good for, it's loaded with iron. So if you got iron deficiency, go out there and make you a good helping of poke salad. Or like I say, you got the pine trees and the pine saps or honey.
You got honeybees. That's
Yeah.
what I was gonna say.
The arthritis, we was talking on the last one. Folks were saying having arthritis issues, how they've gained relief from it. The honey, the compounds in the honey to help you when you're ailing, or if you need some rest, or if you got a
But
sore
I mean,
throat.
everything about them, the wax, the propolis, even the venom, is super beneficial to you.
So I tried one time to make poke salad, but after I read up on it, it had me so afraid I was going to poison myself that I boiled all the flavor out of it. It was worthless by the time I got through boiling it twice.
My mama did the same thing the first time my daddy made her do it.
I ate a bite of it and I went, I'm not eating this. It was terrible.
That whole pile of crap went out in the yard, and she never would try again.
What it three times boil it down, then you're good, I think.
I think I boiled it and drained it twice, I think, and put a little bit of sausage in it to try to give it some flavor, and it just tasted like nothing.
Who
I'll
was
just
it?
stick with the Elvis Presley song, "Poke Salad."
Yeah.
But wasn't it Lisa talking in the last chat about she had been looking into that or had done it or something?
What's that?
The poke salad.
Poke salad?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
She's still in chat, isn't she?
I think so. She
I
was.
hadn't seen her in a minute.
But I know she said that she wasn't able to get much relief she had some arthritis problems. Or was it her that said she wasn't able to get much relief from bee stings?
Yeah, she said it didn't help her.
But
There's Lisa.
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
it was her. I thought so.
Yeah.
She talking about you talking about the stinging didn't give her relief?
Yeah, when she was, I think she was out like with Bruce and Ed maybe that day, and she got like 20 stings or something, over 20 stings. But she said they even got her like on the hand she was having trouble with arthritis and didn't get any relief from it.
I got stung today. I was just straightening up boxes, and I guess I just pushed a bee, but I had to. Let's see if I got stung right by where the fingernail meets the skin right there. And that hurt. I don't know. And my hand is still swollen, but I had to go inside and run it under cold water. I've never had to do that before. It made me run away. That was crazy. I've had stings that hurt on the end of the finger, but right there by where that nail is, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, it was horrible. It was terrible. I usually get stung and just go on. They don't ever stop. But that one
have a lot more punch than others.
They sure do.
Well, and it didn't help that I just rubbed it like that and kept going. And I looked down, and that little thing was still like 30 seconds later, still pulsating on my.
Yeah, I was pumping in that poison more.
I couldn't. I still can't. I still can't get the finger all the way. But I could only bend my finger like that much when I first, 5 minutes after I did it, I couldn't bend my finger. I hadn't had a sting that bad in a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of them are worse.
Most of my stings are around my ankles because I wear sandals.
Let me ask y'all
Which I
this.
have arthritis there too, so it works.
Yeah.
When y'all get popped, I know we all go for that smoker.
Mhm.
Get that pheromone going or try to knock it down a little bit. Now, whenever I do that, even with cold smoke, it seems like, bud, as soon as that smoke hits that thing, it hurts worse.
It inflames.
I guess it feels like it inflames it or something, but here lately,
Oh,
I just don't.
I never do it directly on where they sting me. I just do it around me, so it keeps the scent from going out.
Yeah, I do it right where they sting me, but I hadn't noticed that it changes it. Most of the time, it's not hurting that bad.
Yeah.
I'll feel them tomorrow. That's usually what happens with me.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
just
that's
start
what
itching with me. I just feel like, like a mosquito bite.
Yeah.
How they start itching.
Yeah.
That's what happens with me.
Mine, I get more swelling on the back of the hand and on the forearm than anywhere else. I can get stung anywhere else and I'm fine, well, anywhere around your nose and your mouth. That's a given. That's going to be bad. But
yeah, I thought I was going to get one of those the other day when I was talking and one flew in my mouth.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Tim got stung in the nose once. Like the bee crawled in his nostril and
Oh,
stung inside his nose.
I mean, she buried that joker too.
Yeah, she did.
I know if you get stung on the side of the nose, it makes your eyes close. So I don't know what it is about that area, but it makes
nerve.
I mean, you can get stung on the side of the head and it doesn't do much, but man, when you get hit on the nose, it makes your whole face go crazy.
I think the worst I ever got, or like the worst for me, was like the top of my eyelid, right in the crease of my eye.
Really?
It got me there, and oh my gosh, it made my eyes water.
I got stung by a wasp there one time. That was kind of funny looking. It just a big old bubble just hung down on my cheek.
Yeah, I got into a yellow jacket nest as a teenager, and they got me like 3 times across my eye right there, and it looked like somebody pinged me with a ball bat for like a week before it went down.
I got hit on the top lip by a yellow jacket, and my lip hung down to my chin. It was funny. I took a lot of pictures. It was pretty wild.
I bet your mom has copies of them.
I had to cancel a meeting, and like it was a meeting from the next day, and I was still messed up. I just sent a picture to the person. I said, "This is what I look like. You don't want to be me." I look like an ogre, man. It was awful.
Well, I'll knock on wood. I've been doing pest control for 19 years. Only been hit once by a wasp, never by yellow jackets. I've been stung more by my own bees than anything else.
I don't typically mess with wasps. I just let them go. I just let them build their thing and move on. I don't usually fool with them, but
but I get paid to get rid of them.
Exactly. Yeah. The one that hit me in the mouth, I had killed its whole family like a week before that, and
remembered you.
I didn't knock the nest down, and the ones that are in there, well, a couple of them will hatch out. Well, this is the one that hatched out, and when I walked by, it got retribution. So, yeah.
So y'all talking about something to pull that sting out now. For the ones that anybody that smokes cigarettes.
Yeah, my parents used to. Tobacco.
Take a pinch. Find somebody. If you get stung, and it works too, brother. I can't tell you how many times Daddy done this as a youngin'.
Yeah, I got
stung, but break that pinch a little piece of that cigarette off. Spit on it, wet it good. Throw that cigarette and that spitting right there on top of where that thing stung you.
Give it just the poison.
Yes, sir. It sure will.
Tobacco does the same thing. Just regular chewing tobacco.
I was helping a lady work her bees, and I got stung on the hand somewhere, and she ran and got some kind of cream from some plant and rubbed it on there, and it stopped.
Aloe vera.
It wasn't aloe vera, but it was a. I think it's that little fuzzy green plant that grows close to the ground. I think it was made from that, whatever that. I mean, like a goat's tongue or something like that. I don't know what it was, but it worked. It stopped hurting immediately. I should have wrote it down, but I didn't.
You want to tell you a little bit? We'll talk on that second. Let me go
Chaw,
back.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
chaw tobacco. Is he chawing tobacco? Is that what he's talking about?
That's your
He
chaw.
spells it like he says it though.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a chaw. It's tobacco.
No, not all the time. That's
DC, I'm gonna
funny,
get
though.
her to you talking about that. Now let me say this. What she's gonna tell you, we do not advise anybody to do. We are not medical professionals, we're not doctors, we're not scientists, none of that. But we're gonna give you a testimony of how bee venom helped my wife. And the doctors would not believe what cured it. They still won't believe it. They think their medicine fixed it. She didn't take their medicine. But just kind of give them a highlight. Oh, you want me to just highlight it a little bit?
Well, I mean, long story short, I had some cysts in my ovary, and one of them got really big and it ruptured. Ended up in the hospital for a day, but follow up with the doctor, and they put me on all these hormone pills to try to treat it, keep from having surgery or whatever. Well, it wasn't doing anything. I took the pills for 4 months, I guess, right at 4 months. Took them, and every time we go back for an ultrasound, what was left was just getting bigger. Things were getting worse, and they just wanted me to keep taking the pills, and I was losing it. So we just started doing some research. We already had the bees, and we came across the same video DC was talking about, or one along the same lines of them doing all this research on bee venom curing certain cancers, especially cancers. But the endometriosis that I had was also a thing they were studying in Europe somewhere, I think.
Yeah.
So after reading about it, yeah, Lee, you knew what I was talking about. But after reading about it, I just came out one day and told him, I was like, look, I'm done with this. I'm not taking this medicine anymore. It's making me lose my mind and all this kind of crap. So I just quit taking it. And like, we had just had an appointment with the doctor, and they had looked, and nothing was any better. And come home, quit taking it. I canceled the first appointment, so I went like 6 weeks without seeing the doctor. But I got a minimum of 3 stings a week, because that's what was in those studies I read. What that was their baseline. They were injecting people with the equivalent of the venom out of 3 stings per week. Now I was getting those on top of us working the bees or whatever, but no more than 6 weeks time, not taking the pills, went back, had another ultrasound, and the lady, she couldn't find anything. She was like, Miss Blake, which side were we supposed to be looking at? So I told her, and she's like, there's nothing there. It's just gone. They couldn't explain it. And they put us in the room, and the doctor walked in, and she's like, so those magic pills you hated so much worked anyways, didn't they? And I was like, no, try again. I ain't been taking your pills. And told her what we've been doing, and she didn't want no part of it. Like, didn't believe me. I was like, look, darling, you can pull my blood. I promise you I ain't took your pills. But it worked.
Yeah.
Like, it worked.
Do y'all ever watch Steve's Outdoor World?
Mm-hmm.
He did. He had a cancer on his hand, and it was one of those deals where they put him off for like 6 weeks or 8 weeks. When they did the test on it, his doctor said, you got to get this cut off. So she scheduled him to go, and he met with him, and they looked at it, and then it was taking forever. So he just started taking, and he said it was growing like every day. It was putting out little tentacles growing on the back of his hand. And he started stinging 30 stings on that cancer and around it every day. And when they finally his surgery came up, he said they cut it off, and he knew he had stopped it because he saw it shrink. It was shrinking.
Oh, wow.
And the doctor cut it off, and then they go and look under a microscope at the boundaries, they cut a little outside the cancer, and then they go study to make sure that there's no cancer cells hitting the boundary they cut off. And he said the doctor came back, and him and the nurse were like, had a real funny look on their face, and he said, well, we didn't find any cancer cells in the like, they don't call it boundary, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And he said, but the other thing, he goes, we didn't find any cancer cells anywhere. The cancer was dead. And he said, but we found something in the middle of it that looked like a thorn. And he said he had one of those stingers, he had dug it out good enough and left it in the middle. So he found it, and he looked at him and go, oh, that's kind of funny. He said he didn't even tell him what he did. He just left.
Just let him go. Yeah, Paul, that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was about
It was
3
3
years
years
ago.
ago. It was way before I was allergic to them. No, I wouldn't do that now.
No,
I'd
Lord.
much rather live than die that way.
Do your stings in the hospital if you do.
No, I don't ever want to do that again. As much as I miss the stings for a whole lot of reasons, I'm not going there again.
And we would like to try that therapy to see
Yes.
if that'll turn.
If that would be an option for me.
That'd be great. I mean, it'll take a huge stress off just simply going out there and working the bees, because I mean I know she has it in her head, and I have it in mine going out there, Lord, please let's not get any stings. If something comes to that, let them tear my tail up so she can get inside or something. But
I mean, none of them have gotten through that suit. I've pulled dozens of stingers out of the suit and gloves itself, but I haven't taken a single sting in that thing.
no, them guardian suits they've served their purpose so far,
Big time.
and yes, most definitely a huge help in her being able, once again, going back to y'all helping us out. She can get out there in the bees and still work them now, and we don't have that worry and concern of, do we have protection? Because the suits we had before, like we was talking earlier, they was ordered off Amazon. It was the cheap, suit for $19.99, and you get the whole get up. But
the reviews on some of those are terrifying.
they are. I mean, we got our butts tore up even putting them things on. They would still get through them old cheap Chinese suits, I guess is all they were.
I got one of those heavy duty suits, and I got tagged twice today through it on my arm. But then again, I had like 100 bees on my arm too. They just did not like me taking that honey today.
I think those guardian suits, what we read, are they a 3-layer?
I think so.
I think they're a 3-layer. Then we was able also to get the guardian gloves. So when she pulls them gloves up on her arms,
Everybody's frozen.
yeah, she gets 6 layers. It's Chris or Philip?
No,
Y'all footies up?
No, we're good.
Okay.
We're just not moving.
Yeah, but y'all, that's still been a huge blessing on that end. But What is that?
Danae, she said her family's all had worse reactions to the bee stings since they got a COVID vaccine. Cause she asked me if I had had one, and I told her no. I guess talking about the allergy getting so much worse all of a sudden. I hadn't heard anybody talk about that.
Maybe it's something they need to look into.
I'm not doing
That's one more excuse why I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Too much come out about that thing. Now they're trying to talk and saying they're gonna put it in with the flu vaccine to combine them.
Good thing I don't get that either.
Me either. Me either. That's the only thing the VA pushes on all us old people. You gotta get the flu shot. I said, no thanks. That's all right.
I mean, I used to. I used to have to get them every year due to my health reasons, but I quit taking them even, I'm gonna say about 2 years before the all that came out with the virus, we'll say. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to trust any of it now. Without all of us getting into, I guess, a big debate on it. And I mean, I
Yeah.
respect everybody's opinion and what you want to do. Absolutely.
We
Look
just
out for
ask
your
that
best
people
interest.
respect ours too.
That's it. I mean, we just ask the same.
Some people get really upset discussing the vaccine and COVID in general. So
Yeah.
move on. Mr. Mark, do you read his comment?
Mark Miller.
Yes.
Wow.
He's gotta go stage 2. He's got stage 2 lung cancer. He's gotta go to MD Anderson to the end of this month. Prayers would be appreciated.
Well, absolutely, brother. Yes, sir. We'll pray
That's what
for
I
you.
told him.
Get more stings there, Mark.
I like
Hey,
it.
seriously, like I feel like with that many places doing that many studies showing that kind of results, there's got to be something to it. Like
Well, you know, yeah,
there's-
because the medical fields aren't gonna support it because they ain't gonna make no money off it.
Anything over here? The research that we found on the cancers. Now, once again, like I said, do your research. Do not take our word for it, and you do what's best for you. But from what we have researched with the bee venom and cancers, that it was a doctor from over in Europe somewhere and Australia. These two cats was doing studies on the cancers and bee venom, and they was doing pancreatic cancer, lung cancer,
breast cancer,
Um,
and
it,
one more.
it was several of the high profile cancers, I guess the best way to put it.
Well, I mean, not even that, because they were doing pancreatic cancer too, and that's not an extremely common, like not near as common as breast cancer kind of thing.
But the only way we was able to look it up was actually just Googling. I think when we found it was British and Australian doctors and cancer cure bee stings, something along those lines. And whenever we got into where we could start figuring out a little bit of research and we was reading up on the stuff, man, the results that these dudes is pulling off.
Yeah, where the FDA don't get involved. Yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes.
that's where it all comes from.
That's it. That's the only reason there's not a profit for them. So, yes, like we was talking earlier with the insurances and all that. Well, we'll just keep them sick and we'll pull every dime out of insurance that we can. We just numbers nowadays. We're not patients anymore. And check it out, brother. I mean, really, really sit down and check it out and do you get your own opinion on it, and you, like I say, do what's best for you. But it's amazing at the results that them guys have had, and just simply her testimony on our end made us even.
I was gonna
Right.
say that's the only definitive thing I can absolutely stand behind on that is what I went through with it. So I mean, I know
And ain't no
it.
denying that.
No,
No, sir. No.
I'll never deny that ever, because that was the only factor in there. I quit taking the medicine and I increased the bee stings,
That
and
was
that
it.
was the end result. So I mean,
That
I
might
don't.
have contributed to you being allergic to these things also, because you got more than your normal dosage. Your
That's
body
what
starts.
I was so heartbroken when I turned that allergic to them.
Yeah.
That because like I depended on those things for a lot of things. I mean, yeah, I love the bees and I love working them and being in them out there, but I really use the bees for a lot more than just a hobby. But at least I can still play in them though. What
Let's
is
see.
it?
Mark
I can't
said.
read
Yeah.
it with the heart thing on there.
Mark said when I started breathing from the hives, when he started breathing from the hives, it would choke him, and that was when it was in his neck. 6 years later,
He's
still kicking.
Man.
Thank you, Lord.
That's a
Yeah,
long time to fight that.
I'm a firm believer that for every ailment out there, God has put a natural cure out there. It's just whether we find it or not, or they allow us to use it.
Yeah.
Well, we so dependent on just anytime we get a sniffle or something. Oh, let's go to the doctor and let's get a shot in our honey, and everything will be okay. Versus, like we should have wrote down what Mama and Papa said. What was passed down to them, how they done it. They didn't run to no doctor every 30 days to go get a checkup. They probably didn't see a doctor in 30 years. But then people knew where to go out in them woods,
Get
pick
what they
whatever it
needed.
was.
Yep.
That's it.
Look, my grandpa, literally, and granted, this was 10 years ago. No, longer than that.
Longer
a
than
lot longer than that. Closer to 15 or more now. But when he passed away when he was 88. And literally, he ended up going to the hospital like about a week before he actually died. But he had a quadruple bypass. But at 88 years old, that was the first time in his life he had ever set foot inside a hospital. Ever. Like he was blown away at what he was looking at when they took him in there because he had never been before. I never even knew him going to the doctor for anything.
Well,
Like even the clinic in town, he didn't go to the doctor.
pretty much your grandma too, because she birthed every one of them youngins
Yeah,
with a midwife in that house, didn't she?
her mama.
Her mama.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like I like going back to that. You can get a lot of information in the Foxfire books on different things along those lines. Them
I
old folks.
agree, but they use kerosene for a lot of stuff too in those Foxfire books.
Yeah.
They did have some slightly different ways of doing things.
Now, my daddy, he was a firm believer. If we got a cut where justified, it called daddy into action. Besides going to mama for something, mama, she reach up in that cabinet, she grab that camphor-neat. Oh, I still don't like the smell of that stuff to this day. But when it comes to daddy fixing you up, you went out there to the shed and he had a clean thing of acetone. He done little fiberglass working thing time to time, but he always kept him some acetone out there in that shed. And that's what that wound went in. Or he pat it with a rag or something like that. But no, you didn't get no alcohol or peroxide. Now, when daddy dragging you to the shed bleeding, it's fixing to stop with acetone. But I'm still here. It ain't so far. It ain't affected me. But you're right. Some of them was a little wild what they were putting on you.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, just put some gas on it, you'll be all right.
Hey, Lisa's, her comment was talking about how she got really healthy and then took the vaccine. I'm glad you got really healthy because it seems like everybody that's a little bit sick, that's when it kills them. A lot of people I knew that were getting over cancer or heart ailments and things like that. They took the vaccine and died within 6 months. But people that were already healthy, they seemed to be okay.
I don't know. I've seen a little bit of both, like up close and personal. We've seen a little bit of both. We've seen one man that was perfectly healthy until he took the vaccine, and in 30 days, he was dead from cancer.
Gone. Boom.
He was only 57, I think. He was a young man.
Yeah, they've got a lot of people from in their 50s and 60s. It seemed to really hit that people my age.
Yeah.
I know 3 or 4 people that some of them had health issues already, but that
Like you said, it seemed to exacerbate, like especially cancer.
Yeah.
I've seen that the most.
We will know what happened to Kennedy before we'll know the full truth about all this that went on. But unfortunately, that's just where we're at. And
Well, guys, I'm gonna have to cut out. It's bedtime for me, and
just looking at.
gotta go to work.
Yeah.
Yep, started over. We're gonna work tomorrow, then take Tuesday off maybe.
Yeah,
We
we just bought $600 worth of fireworks for Tuesday.
I heard that.
Oh,
Y'all gonna have a party.
Later, guys.
All right.
Take it.
Chris, good night.
Oh man.
See, Mark said he drove all over the country with cancer and
He said COVID-19 didn't get him. Yeah.
didn't get him.
Yeah. Now I hadn't seen the COVID getting people the vaccine is what I've seen trigger the cancer so bad.
You right too, Pennsylvania. There's a lot on both ends.
Yeah, hey Mark, I lost my brother to lung cancer. It's been a long time ago, but he was only 46 years old.
Yeah. Oh, there's Earl.
Earl in here.
He just came in.
What's say now, Earl?
Pest-free beekeeping.
Yeah, he changed his name up.
Earl, we were just about to get out of here, man.
Yeah.
I did that on Bob's show the other night. I came in after they were already talking about shutting it down. Of course, Bob might go to midnight. You can't ever tell.
Man, he did last night. That's why I'm fighting yawning now.
Yeah, I watched that in rerun today.
I give up on him. What, like 11:30? I was like, look, I'm out.
What's funny is y'all started late, but I had such bad reception at my farm that I was listening to you guys for like 3 hours because it would just sit there and the little thing would spin, and I'd have to wait. I'd get like 2 words in, and then I'd wait and get 3 more. Talk about interesting stuff. And I sat there, and when y'all got, you said, somebody said, "Yeah, we've been on here for an hour and 19 minutes." I'm like, "What? I've been listening to this for like 3 hours."
Well,
We do that a lot of times.
what time? We can go another few minutes, I reckon.
Yeah, Earl's getting in the chat now.
Come on in, Earl. Tell us about it for a minute, Bo. You ain't got nothing going on. We was talking about you a minute ago, breaking down the science of the sugar. I could not explain
You made
it.
the serious news tonight, Earl.
We don't have enough time for Earl to come in and explain it.
Go watch the video.
That's right. I haven't seen it yet, but I got to watch it.
It was good.
It was good. He he used all kind of names of how it hooked together, and when it separates, it's this name, but I get the,
He can say them mile-long words.
Yes.
No problem.
Yeah.
No, he said, give me a minute.
all right, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Yes,
We're going to be sitting here an hour.
yeah. We do. Where's my little notepad? Mark, Bubba, I'm gonna go ahead and get you put down on here on our to add you to our prayer list with Larimore and others.
So Mark, when are you going? Are you going down to Houston?
He said he was going to.
MD Anderson. There, I know there's a big cancer unit down there.
Yeah.
There he is.
Some people's afraid of that thing looking at me all the time. I keep a piece of tape on it. I tell y'all, I really am bipolar schizophrenic. I can put tape. I can't handle that. You know what I'm saying? But I deleted that video. I made another one just a minute ago. It's uploading right now, and tried to explain the process of glucose and how they break it down and stuff. And it's not that bad. It's pretty simple. You go from sugar, table sugar, fructose, fruit sugar. That's what you get out of fruit. You got glucose, that's blood sugar, goes straight in you. We can't digest fructose, we have to send it to the liver and store it, but they can use the fructose. Think of fructose as alcohol. When they're making their pollen bread, they have to use fructose in it. They cannot put glucose in it because glucose will crystallize and ruin their pollen bread. So they have to have fructose for that. And if you're making wax, you need a long chain fatty acid with the long chain alcohol. And where do you get the alcohol from? The fructose, right? And then you need the other one, so they got to use it. But in order to break down the glucose for wax, they have to have an extra hydrogen and oxygen molecule to do it. And so what they do is they have to have an entire molecule of water, and that water will break down, and they will use it to help them to make the wax. They don't need it to make energy. They use it, but not as much. In energy, they can do it a lot quicker and more efficiency, because when they're making energy, they'll take that glucose molecule and put a proline molecule on it, and that way when the glucose burns, the afterburner kicks in, and the proline, it's so odd that they call it rocket booster, and that the science, it really truly is. Proline is a rocket booster when they use it that way. And amino acid can be used for energy or for making protein, and protein makes muscle. Or, in their case, the energy for their wings and stuff I mentioned eats up a lot. And so, if you're making wax, you need a lot of water. You know what I'm saying? And any other time, you still always want to keep an ample amount of water. A bee cannot eat honey alone. It has to go get some water to help break it down. You just can't eat it alone. Now, like I said, for every molecule of glucose that they're trying to break down, they have to have water in that process. However, they don't use as much water when they're making energy, because they don't need those extra molecules that they got to have when they're making the wax. And just remember, more and more glucose, that's just your honey's going to crystallize. More and more fructose, it's not going to crystallize. It's the same thing in their bee bread, and that's why they use the fructose in the bee bread. And that's why look at your honey. You're talking in the honey, you have 55 to 60% fructose. And then down here, you got 45% glucose. What? They used it, didn't they? They needed it more. And then they can use the fructose that's what they got to have for their pollen bread. They're always packing in pollen, so they need a lot of fructose on the side. You know what I'm saying? They do crazy things, man. They can make lactic acid, and at the same time, they're making, Bob always talks about it being broke down into, what does he call gluconic acid. But when it breaks down, you can get a carboxylic acid that breaks down, and you get hydrogen peroxide, and you get another molecule, and that molecule is the active ingredient in wintergreen.
So we'll back up just a second, Earl. The
methyl salicylate.
Okay, so in common folk language, it's
a disease fighter. It fights antifungal. Yeah, it fights fungus and diseases. That's what it does. You know hydrogen peroxide, don't you?
Yes.
It fights diseases. Same thing. Methyl salicylate's another one. So they got two disease fighters right there that's helping them to stay healthy. And you know, like I say, there's more than one process that they can use that glucose for. They can store it, they can burn it for energy, and they can use it to make wax. It's crazy. But there's everything they need. They put it in that honey, and they're ready. They want to make bee bread, they got it there. They want to make something that's in there. Yeah, anti-inflammatory, super, super great. Just another one of them super good things that you really want your bees to have, you know, as much of it. And remember, when they're breaking it down into carboxylic acid and carbonic acid, and gluconic acid, whatever it's called, that is the process through which they need it. You know what I'm saying? That's when they got to have it. And water is a big part of that. Always remember, they can't eat that honey without water. Water is a big thing to them. Big. It's more important than we realize. Later in the future, I think there's going to be an emphasis on water and water quality and a big deal about it. I think there will be. I surely do. I think it's really important to our bees. What I'd like to know is exactly what they want. You know, I don't know. I know they sure. I feel confident when I'm feeding Apis Biologics that I got it covered. You know, and then every now and then, you know, I'll use that Super DFM. That makes me feel good. And two of the most important microorganisms that's in that Super DFM is also in goat's milk. Remember the two? I'd say goat's milk has two microorganisms. That's them. It's one of the two most important microorganisms. And in the bee, they store that, all those microorganisms. Listen, you got to go through, you know, the front gut, the mid gut, then the next gut, and then it goes into the ileum. And the ileum is like a little, I guess think of it like a spleen or appendix. And what it does is it houses all those microorganisms. That's where they're at. So as it gets broke down a couple of times, by the time it gets to the microorganisms, it's already kind of, you know, broke down real good and they can interact with it. And it's an amazing process. It really is. But everybody knows that there's every bit of nectar is different. All pollen is different. And they've done studies. Do you know what tree possesses the highest amount of everything out there, the best pollen that there is, has the most of everything? A buckeye. A buckeye. They done studies in Lithuania coast, a bunch of different places overseas, and that's what they've come up with. That if you're going to feed pollen, that's one of the best pollens that there is. And now I know why they go after them stinky chestnuts. They stink, but they burn them up because after the whatever it was I said just a second ago, Buckeye chestnuts are the next best thing with the highest amount of all those nutrients and stuff that's in it. You know what I'm saying? So, in other words, if you want to say, like Apis biologist, that I have all there is of everything out there, if you were feeding Buckeye pollen, yeah, you could say that. It has that balance of everything that's out there. My point being, we need to be able to get our hands on it, and I don't know anybody that offers it. It's not being offered. It is the most important pollen that's made, in chestnut. Some people, we're so far away from, we've just always done the same thing and been okay with it. The name of my video it's uploading is, if you always do what you always done, then you're going to get what you always got. You have to make a change. You have to do something different. And my way, what I'm talking about, is cheap. It's inexpensive. It's simple. It's easy. And it works. It's a silver bullet? No. Like me and Bob was talking about the other night. It's a tool in the toolbox that helps you. What you got to have next, I believe, is the good bee, the right bee. And I have them. Seth Hill has the most amazing bees in the planet, I believe. Dragging out that varroa and that small and that deformed wing stuff, that when I saw that last fall, it blew my mind. But I haven't seen a varroa since last fall.
Now,
I think
me
to make
yeah.
sure that it keeps them. I'm sorry, go ahead.
On you, when at Houston and yourself, now correct me if I'm wrong, y'all was using, was it goat's milk for your pollen sub?
Yeah, for sub, I was using goat's milk. But it's not real goat's milk. It's goat's milk replacer. And so what it's made out of is whey protein, brewer's yeast, and it has all the amino acids, vitamins, 2 microorganisms, and all that. And that is what I make for them in my fondant. I always put that in my fondant. And sometimes I'll mix it up in a sugar, in my sugar syrup, along with the Apis biologics and feed it. And you can't feed it when it's hot. It'll sour real quick on you. You can only use it when it's cool. You know what I'm saying? And good though, that's only when you need it. You need it in the fall, and you need it sometimes in early spring. And I can build my bees up just as fast as anybody just using that stuff, man. And look, put a little Apis biologics with it, I got it all covered, don't I? That's all I'm saying. Make sure they have everything they need, because in that bee is a little laboratory. And they do different things with stuff, and they can honestly, something that's breaking down molecules and saying, I'm gonna put this fructose over here, put this glucose over here. They're a lot smaller than us, so I imagine those are like little baseballs to them. Yeah, I don't know. So I do know, and I think it helps everybody to understand it a little better about bee bread when you understand that glucose is the crystallizer, fructose is the alcoholer, and so that's what's fructose is going into your pollen. You always got to have it for the pollen bread, because that's all they're going. Always what they're bringing in pollen. So they got fructose for that. And the glucose, they got tons of glucose. They're obviously burning up a bunch of it. There ain't a lot of it in the honey as much as there is the fructose. So I don't know what that is in that bee bread and how they make it so awesome, but they're doing it with fructose. And I'm sure they put a little glucose in it, but not enough. They got to have that. Like I say, you have more glucose than you have fructose, you're going to have crystallization. If you have more fructose than you do glucose, no. But you thin it down too much, then you can that's the stuff that can help make it sour too. It probably would quicker turn on you if you had it too thin. If you didn't make sure you had enough water out of it, I'm sure it would sour on you quicker if you had a higher fructose content and you had it too thin.
Well, I mean, these are things we need to know.
Yes, sir.
To take and help our colonies to be strong outside of what nature isn't providing at the time. You know, we have dearth, a lot of good, and if we can just keep it simple and we know, well, this is going to be a good source of carbs, protein, water that they need, the whole process to help and take and get them by until the naturals come in,
then you can quit. Like I'm not doing nothing. They are burning it up. There's so much Sherwood and Lynn right now, and it must be very nutritious. All through the spring flow, they still hit my syrup. Not a lot, but there was always bees going to it. Now that this Lynn and Lindenwood, Basswood, whatever you want to call it, and then Sherwood has kicked in, man, they do. They're look at man, they don't need it. That stuff must be good. Dr. Casey, got your MS yet? I turned 50. 50-year-old. Been fooling fish bees since I was 5.
Oh wow.
Grandpa and me sat down and started watching them. I used to hide in them, keep mommy from whooping me because the bees didn't like her. I'd go over there, she couldn't get to them. Love them. I've always loved bees.
Mark saying he worked on an underground watering system with a pump, with a Coleman cooler, solar panel, run the pump and put the cooler in the ground about a foot.
Let me tell y'all something. That Mark Miller, man, that dude right there, old hillbilly, he's smart. Man. He's always thinking too. He's always out there pushing the envelope and challenging things. And he gets so scientific. He blows my mind.
Oh, he's got it figured out. Just
He's doing good, guys. He's doing good. Listen, if you have what you want and you're happy, ain't nothing no better. You know, sit out there with my hives, watch them coming and going, just getting big. My biggest worry is, when am I going to have to split them? Are they going to get too big, try to run off on me? That's all I worry about. I don't worry about it. I don't have to.
well, that's a good problem to have.
Try it, guys. Try it. All you got to do is try it. It's cheap.
Well,
$10. $10 to get you in the pest-free business.
the pest
Get
free.
you a little diatomaceous earth, get you a little peppermint, make you up some sugar syrup.
One of the things that's best for them to get over Varroa is to let them go into that dirt and stop making brood. Have a brood break.
When I feed diatomaceous earth, I cut them Varroa's guts out. They're gone. Bees can handle it, Varroa can't. I wipe them out, kill them dead. Between the peppermint and the diatomaceous earth, they cannot survive in my hive.
I don't
Fact.
put any. I don't put
Last
any-
year when I started,
and I hadn't lost any bees over winter. I lost a few in the dirt because I didn't feed them at all. And we had a severe drought. I don't do any of that stuff, and I don't lose bees.
yeah, there you go. That's good.
I don't know that they're recruiting, but I don't want them
Do you have
to.
beetles? Do you have to fight beetles in Varroa? Do you treat Varroa?
I do treat Varroa, but I don't hardly have any. I treat them and I count them. Now I do
There you
have
go.
some here. I do have some here in Capel. Down at the farm, I don't hardly have any. I don't know why.
Once you wipe them out, you can keep them wiped out. You really can.
Well, I
It can
think
be
those-
done.
I think those bees down there.
I'm not-
have,
my way ain't the only way. It's a way.
I think those bees down there are more feral stock. The queens go out.
The
and
fact is, diatomaceous earth, the diatoms inside of it, the razor blades, man. You feed it to your dogs and your animals to rid them of worms. I know it sounds crazy feeding it to the bees, but I went out there, man. My sugar feeder was dripping, made a mud hole in the diatomaceous earth. They was all there eating it, and none was on that feeder. I said, "Thank you, Lord, you showed me something." And ever since then, wow. 3/4 cup to a gallon. I put it in a Ninja. 30 seconds. I make sure it's all chopped up good and mixed in good. Looks like mud. They go crazy over it. I make sure I have my peppermint oil in it. 13 drops to a gallon. Peppermint oil and lemon. 13. 3/4 cup diatomaceous earth. Woo! X Biologics. You're done.
And you just setting it out as a feed.
As an open feeder, yep. Set it out at my open feed. They burn it up. You go looking in your diatomaceous earth tray. until there ain't nothing in it. I ain't seen a varroa fall down in that documented earth trench since last fall. I did treat that one hive, wiped them out, got them down, gone. Now I listen just like you, Bubby. I ain't seen them since. I'm free, and that's why I put it on my name. And this ain't no new thing. When I started my channel, I told certain people about it. I was like, look, you see what peppermint's doing. There's no way I can tell them about Dr. Major's Earth yet. So I waited a whole year. And Lee knew about it. Bob knew about it. Houston knew about it. My buddy down there, I can't think of it right now. Down Texas, comes on a lot with us. I'm just brain stuck. Love him to death. But he knew about it. And, a lot of people did. I told them, they think I'm crazy. But look, it made sense to me. Feed it to your dogs to get rid of worms. Feed it to the goats and animals to get rid of worms. Dust your chickens with it to kill the mites. I'm like, okay. They're like, well, when it's working, it don't work. What it does when it gets wet, it gets a hard shell on top of it, and they walk on it, but they don't get down in it enough for it to cut them or do anything. So you get in there and rush it up. It's kind of like kitty litter. If any water gets in it, you can just scoop out that spot and just throw it out and just put a little more diatomaceous earth over it. I get it out and I can look at it, and it gives me so much information about the hive. Oh, I go through your trash. I learn so much about you. And that's the same way with the bees.
Hey, Earl, can you answer that question that's on the screen? Can you see it?
How did the mites get from the bees to the diatomaceous earth? When they're dead, they fall down in it.
No. He's saying that if you're feeding bees diatomaceous earth, but you're saying it's getting into the varroa to cut them apart. How does that make that jump?
You have to understand that varroa are hydraulic. They're not like other bugs. If they get a pinhole in their toe, their whole operation's dead. They fall. They're hydraulic. And then some insects are. And I learned that from Tom Seeley.
Does the varroa? You said the varroa eats. You said it cut their insides up.
Listen, the bees eat it, store it in the fat body. Varroa sucks it out of the fat bodies. Oops, it's got diatoms in it. You got a hole in it. They fall down.
You're saying that the diatomaceous goes from the digestive system of the bee to its fat bodies.
Yeah, they store it in the fat body. Then the diatomaceous earth goes into the varroa and kills them in the same way that it does when you're feeding your dogs and stuff. It's anecdotal. I'm not a scientist. I can't prove it.
When you're feeding your dog, you're talking about intestinal issues, I think, and worms and stuff.
Actually, diatomaceous earth food grade is healthy as heck, man. It's recommended for humans to eat so much of it a day. It's got a lot of nutrients in it, calcium and carbonate stuff. And what that does for a bee, calcium carbonate, they can use that in their chitin and in their exoskeleton. And what it does is it makes it harder and tougher. The millipede uses that to make his exoskeleton bite proof. Most insects cannot bite through a millipede, and the reason is they put that chitin with the calcium carbonate, and it makes it super harder. I've dusted bees with that diatomaceous earth, man, and washed it. And the ones that can come out of it that don't get inundated by it and they fly off, it'll actually absorb into the the snotty layer of the cuticle or whatever it's called, goes right down into the bee, and it stays there the whole bee's life. As I see them flying around it, it's okay. I'm like, I know you now because you got that white stuff on you, stuck on you. But if you plumb just throw it on them, you're going to kill them. But just a little bit of dust, no, that won't kill them. They're pretty tough, tougher than you think. I'm not lying. Don't do it or do it. It don't matter to me. I'm sitting here just pest free, happy as heck. Got it going on. Not worrying about nothing. Keep my insides burnt.
Yeah, I
don't got to worry about a bunch of foul brood or nothing.
I'd have to see somebody tell me that it wouldn't hurt the bees though, because diatomaceous earth cuts up the guts of ants and roaches and all kinds of
bees. How come my bees eat it and they're all good? How come I got such big hives? How come it ain't killing them? I feed it all the time. What's not happening? I showed you how to make it.
I'm not gonna feed it to my bees.
That's all right. Don't. You don't have to. I'm not telling you to.
I'm not
I'm
feeding.
telling you what I do.
I'm not feeding any of that
This is
stuff.
what
To my bees. My bees eat nectar, and if they're in the dirt, then they're getting light.
Praise the Lord. Do it your way, brother. Do you?
Won't give them sucrose.
I ain't saying you got to be like me. You don't got to be like me. Do it your way. I don't have the only way. I have a way. I have a way, and it works. You know, it's kind of silly watching y'all with your beagles, and I don't have it.
All I said is, hey, Earl, settle down. Earl, settle down. I said, I'm not doing it. That's not. Don't take that so
Do it. Don't do it. It's all right, man. Chill. It's cool. I'm not expecting you to do it. But this year, it's been proven diatomaceous starch is considered non-lethal to bees. You can look it up.
I
A
want to
little
go
bit
ahead.
ahead of you on the language, but you'll get there.
I want to go ahead and get kicked off the channel. I don't give my bees apis either.
It's all right. It's good. Do it your way, man. Do you?
I'm gonna be banned for life.
Why? Who cares? I love you. I think you're one of the smartest people I get to talk to, and I love talking to you. I hope you don't get mad at me and quit, because I love you to death. I don't care if you do it my way or not, man. I smoke dope. I respect you too.
I am thinking about that apis honey, though. I'm thinking about some of that. I think we're gonna go somewhere with that.
Apis honey.
Apis honey, and then we're gonna. What did you come up with, Lee? We're gonna do cannabis honey next.
Can't do cannabis honey. Impossible. How you gonna do cannabis honey? Bees won't touch it. You blow smoke on them, they kill you. You put pot leaves in it, they drag them right out. They hate it. It's a resin plant, not a nectar plant. Yeah, there's some pollen on the males. There's some pollen on the males, but it's wind pollinated. It's absolutely no taste, no goodness.
We're gonna infuse it, Earl. We're gonna infuse it.
You can infuse it. I've done that.
Yeah, that's what we talked about, just to use it.
Yeah, you can break it down using hydrocarbons and turn it into live resin, and use the live resin in the honey. And when you mix the live resin in the honey and blend it together and raise it to the right temperature, but you got to set it on the stove, and you got to put a jar in water and do it all that way like you would chocolate. I've done it. It's good as heck. I love it. Done it twice last year, man. It's legal in Virginia, and it's one of my medicines for bipolar schizophrenic. It's absolutely prescribed, and it's all good here. I'm happy, man. I love y'all. You don't have to do me, but don't put me down and laugh at me, because I'm gonna come out at you hard. You know,
Well,
what I
that's
say
it.
is true. Look it up. Look it up. Google it.
We can discuss.
Got it. Everybody has their all doing things. Like
Yes, ma'am.
it's okay. What is up with the feedback? That's driving me.
Can y'all hear me good?
I can't hear you, Hannah.
Huh?
I couldn't hear you.
All I'm hearing is feedback from all three cameras.
Okay.
Everybody's yelling.
Did that fix it?
I don't know
Can you
what.
Can you hear me, Daddy?
Oh no, when I accidentally go out or whatever, feedback from there.
I have no idea.
Well, I made everybody mad enough laughing at me. I'm a big old stupid guy, but I love y'all, and I don't have to worry about birds
I
and
love
the
you
bees.
too, Earl. Don't take it personal, man.
No way, man. No way. Hey, look, the more different ways we can figure out, the more tools we got for our toolbox. Let us know how you're doing it, and I can do that too. You know, I might. I'll try anything twice. I might be wrong the first time.
Hang on.
Oh,
We can't hear nothing, but all we're getting is 15 echoes. Like, we cannot understand what you're saying.
I'm getting it too.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna jump out of here then, and I appreciate y'all letting me come on and talking to me. And I really strongly believe in what I do, and I stand behind it. And I don't expect everybody to do it, but I don't like it when certain people put it down or talk about it as if I'm some kind of idiot, because My bees are healthy and working good and doing good, and I'm making splits and everything's just how I want it. Praise God for it, and God is good. All information and wisdom comes from God, and I don't think I come up with anything. If it's an idea or thought that pops in my head, I think the Lord gives it to me. I think that's how that works. I really do. It's just like walking out there that day and seeing them in that diatomaceous surf mud hole, sucking that up, and I'm like, no, you can't. So I stay feeding it to them. They love it, and it works. It's a way, not the way. There's no such thing as the way.
We're not even on there.
But I'm sorry I ain't got no good computer technical stuff. I'm just poor boy. All my videos are made on my phone. I don't even edit. I'm just a redneck hillbilly. And look, you want to see my walls? I holes in my walls, y'all. I'm working on pipes and fittings and put a double shower together for the A now that I fix this side of it. I ain't never done it.
All right. Yeah.
It's hard to do when your hands are broke down and your legs ain't working and your back.
Earl, stop for a second. We got a bad sound thing we're trying to work out.
Yeah, we cannot hear.
Earl, please don't say anything for a second, okay? Please. Okay, get off there. How's that? Is it better?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't hear.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's just stop.
Yeah.
What I'm getting is you guys start talking and then it goes real quiet right after the first two words I can hear, and then it drops off.
Yeah, it's just like a whole bunch of echo on ours now. So
Yeah. Is mine doing that too?
No.
Okay.
Thing is, he keeps hitting buttons and got 3 StreamYard screens open and he can't figure out how to close any of them. That's what's going on.
All right.
Just quit hitting buttons. Driving me up. Echo.
she keeps bumping the stop.
I am. Like, you're worse than a 2-year-old pushing buttons. I don't even know what was said. I heard the last 5 minutes of what he said because you won't push him buttons.
Well, where I went wrong was I was trying to hit one of the comments
I'm gonna
and I hit the exit button.
Okay.
And it's just gone downhill from there. So the train that we're talking about in the beginning,
we
this is
y'all's audio is still it just falls away. It is an echo, but it's like it goes quiet in the middle of your sentences.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just gonna end this.
Yeah, we're gonna end it. We'll see y'all later in the week or next Sunday.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for coming.
Anybody stuck it out.
All right.
Sorry for the technical difficulties.
That's all right. It was a good time.
All right, bro. Y'all take it easy.
All right.
God bless everybody.
All right.
Everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody. Prayers, Mark.
Absolutely.